It's time for Shawn and Maya in the morning.
Quick pitch to Walter, looking for the record, cuts back, he's got it, he's out of it at 25 to the 26-yard line. Walter Payton becomes the National Football League all-time leading rusher.
Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship.
Chicago has won the Stanley Cup. Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
A little bouncer slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it, go to Rizzo. It's in time. And the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning on this House Music Monday edition. I'm your boy, the Superback, Shawn Sierra. Thanks for tuning in. Guys, we have a phenomenal show for you, and I am excited to be talking sports with you on this Monday. Listen, if you're watching us on Facebook Live, well, then I guess you found us on Facebook. So here's what you do. If you're not watching us on Facebook and you're not following us on Facebook, what? All right, here's what you do. Go to Facebook, you type in Sports Zone Chicago, you click the like button, and now you're following Sports Zone Chicago. And listen, while you're there, you might as well like the show's page. Go to Shawn and Maya in the morning. Go to Shawn and Maya in the morning's Facebook page as well. All right, click the like button there as well. And guess what? Now you're following my show's page, Shawn and Maya in the morning as well. And if you're watching us on the YouTube channel, excellent. And if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, come on, get with the program. Come on. How many times we done did tell you? How many times have we done did tell you? All right, go to YouTube, type in Sports Zone Chicago, click the subscribe button. All right, so not only do you get Shawn and Maya in the morning, you get our other 6 live shows throughout the week, and they're all archived there just like they are on Facebook. And if you're watching this on the app, that is even more excellent-er. That's an old phrase I just made up, and I'll tell you what, I'm excited about it. And if you're not subscribed, if you haven't downloaded the app, what? In honor of my guy, Tony, the Chef Daddy. What? You haven't downloaded the app yet? What? Here's what you do. All right, listen, wherever you get your apps from, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Walmart, Kmart, 7-Eleven, Zayre, Zemsky, JCPenney, Marshall Fields, Macy's, wherever you get your apps from, you type in Sports Zone Chicago, all right? You go there, you type in Sports Zone Chicago. Let me repeat that. You go there, you type in Sports Zone Chicago, you download it, you take us with you on the go. Okay, so not only do you have Shawn and Maya in the morning 3 days a week, not only do you have our other 6 live shows throughout the week, not only are they archived there, we have a slew, and I mean a slew of articles. Thanks to my man, Clarence Council III. Big ups to Clarence Council III for posting those articles on there for you to stay updated on Chicago sports. Whew. There are people who still haven't downloaded the app. There are people who still haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel. What? Come on, man. Listen, everyone who's watching this should do me a favor. Make sure that you like Sports Zone Chicago on Facebook. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And make sure you download the app. All right? That's what we're saying. That's what I'm saying. All right? Now, you can also tweet the show. You can tweet us at Sports Zone Shy, that's CHI, at Sports Zone Shy. Now, if you want to follow me, just me, personally online, you want to know what I did? Well, let me tell you what I did. You want to know what I did? Here's what I did. I made a nice and easy for you folks. Nice and easy. One handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and soon to be TikTok. All one handle at the Shawn Sierra. If you want to follow my lovely co-host, Maya Kai, you can follow her on Facebook and Twitter at the Sports Chica. If you want to follow her on Instagram because you do it just for the gram, follow her at Maya_Kai. It's MAYA_AKAI. Man, we have a phenomenal show, man. And he's back there working, my guy. We'll bring him out a little bit. He is working. He's working. Working. But anyway, listen, we have a phenomenal show for you, but we need you to get interactive. Man, we got people already on the text line. Listen, wherever platform you're watching us on, whether it's Facebook, whether it's YouTube, or whether it is the app, leave a question or comment right there on that platform. It'll come up here. My super producer, Ivan, will get it up on the screen, and we'll talk about it. We'll incorporate your questions or comments into the show, and that's what makes the show so fun. All right? We got Cornelius Squalls in the house. What up, Cornelius? Vernon Fairley in the Mickey Ficky house. You're damn right they can choke on the Boston baked beans. Rashawn Walls in the house, baby. You know it. House Music Monday. And Rashad, Too Cool Kennedy in the house. Man, oh man, oh man. Oh, your baby girl Becky. It's a happy birthday to Becky. Rashad Kennedy's baby girl. Happy birthday, Becky. Happy 4th birthday. May you get all the candy, cake, and sweets that you would like. And then let your daddy take you to the dentist. Oh, man. And, we're going to have the rest. I should say the rest of more of the usual suspects check in later. Yes, it's going to be a fun show. I'm telling you, it's going to be a fun show because we got lots to talk about. Boy, was there so much going on? Was there so much craziness going on this weekend? I'm talking sports. Man. Whoa, Charlie. From the Sox and the Cubs to NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, to the Miami Grand Prix, to the Canelo fight, to the Kentucky Derby. Whoa, to Bears rookie minicamp. Man. So much to go on. And listen, so much went on this weekend. There's a lot to cover. So we got to get to it. At 10 o'clock, our guest today at 10 o'clock, Ozzie Guillen Jr. is going to come on. We're going to talk a little White Sox baseball. The White Sox are rolling. They keep rolling, 6 in a row. They are starting to get that swag back. They're starting to get that feel back. All right, they're starting to have fun. They're having fun out there. All right, pitching is key. Pitching is huge. Pitching is huge. Okay, and I'm excited. I can't tell you. I'm excited. I'm excited for what's going on right here. I'm not satisfied by any stretch, no. But the pitching has been good from Velasquez and Dallas Keuchel. Okay, to the bullpen, to Liam Hendricks. Wow, a lot of stuff to talk about today. 10 o'clock, Ozzie Guillen Jr. At 11 o'clock, Herb Howard from the Bigs. He's going to come on and join us. He was at Bears rookie mini camp this past weekend. And let me tell you, it was I'm trying not to get too, I encourage people not to get too fired up. Okay, these are just the rookies. And they're going to have a lot of energy. This is, for many of them, for most of the people who are there this weekend, they will not see the light of day. They will not be on an NFL roster. They will not make the Bears team. So yeah, they're fired up. They're looking to continue their dream of making it to the NFL, of making a game day roster. Okay, because you got, whether you were a rookie that got drafted, if you're an unsigned free agent, undrafted free agent, or you're just a rookie training camp invitee. Man, your goal of getting to the NFL is there. You put on an NFL helmet, you put on NFL paraphernalia, you're at a rookie minicamp, you're there. Some people have said that's as far as they're going to get. Other people, they're going to get a little further. They're going to go on to be consistent starters. They're going to go on to be stars. Some are going to go on to be superstars. Some are going to go on to be all pros. It's just the luck of the draw. Okay, and it was fun for those players. All right. So Herb Howard's going to talk to us about the atmosphere up there at Hallis Hall. Okay, a new regime. The new general manager, Ryan Poles, new head coach, Matt Eberflus, and what kind of camp they ran and how the rookies responded. How did the rookies respond? They're going to be fired up, man. Those dudes, you could tell them to run through a wall. And if they felt it was going to benefit their chances of making the team, they're running through that God bless a wall. I'm telling you. Because those guys, many of those guys, this is what they worked for. This is what they worked for their entire lives since they were 8, 10. Maybe some of us playing at 5 or 6, depending on where you started. Some people start football that young. And, it's there. It's palatable. Say that 5 times very fast. And a lot of people are just trying to take advantage of their opportunity. So 11 o'clock, Herb Howard from the Bigs. Man, it's going to be an amazing show. I'm looking forward to it. House Music Monday. is in full effect. You know, I was first of all, let's get back to today. Today in Chicago, yes, baby, low 80s today, baby. High about 80. If you're a little warmer further away from the lake, which means people like me could get 80, 81, 82, maybe even 83 out this way. It's always cooler by the lake at this particular point of the year. Um, there is apparently there's going to be no springtime. It's winter, light, mild winter, and then summer. Apparently that's what's happening this year. That's what's going on recently, the last year or two. Winter, milder winter, summer. Boom. No easing into it, no transition period, no nothing. Boom. It's here. So, man, this is going to be 80 to 80 degrees today. It's going to be mid to high 80s tomorrow, maybe even 90 out this way. It's going to be 80s most of the week. I think one day. Let's look at Shell Scott's forecast. One day it's going to be in the 70s, high 70s, but nonetheless, because this is amazing. I'm getting ready to get my patio furniture back out. It was in the garage. Yeah. Oh, wow. 80 today, 88 tomorrow, 82 Wednesday, 84 Thursday, 86 Friday, 82 Saturday, 71 on Sunday. One hell of a week. Woo-wee. I like it. I like it a lot. Well, let's get, guys, you know how we do. The first segment of every show is called Top of the Morning.
Just when you want it. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you.
Oh, sheesh. The first top of the morning topic. The White Sox sweep the Red Sox 3-2 yesterday at historic Fenway Park. Yesterday, let me tell you something. I was excited yesterday. Dallas Keuchel, he got the win. He's 2-3 on the season. 6 innings pitched, 8 hits, 2 earned runs, a walk, 5 Ks. Bennett Souza, he gets the save, his first of the season. I'll tell you what, it was tough. You're in Fenway Park. You're in Boston. All right, Jose Abreu was 1 for 4 with a double, his 5th of the season, driving in his 11th and 12th RBIs of the season. Leody Garcia, he was 1 for 4, driving in his 6th run of the season. Yesterday, as you all know, was Mother's Day, and happy belated Mother's Day to all those who are watching. If I didn't hear you, because I forgot to post it yesterday. I don't know. I know the world stopped because I forgot to post Happy Mother's Day, but I think someone's mad at me because I didn't call and wish them a Happy Mother's Day. I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, I digress. So what they were doing yesterday, I thought was kind of cool. They wore their pink. They had pink socks, pink bats, pink everything. Gray hats with pink logos in honor of Mother's Day. I thought that was pretty cool. And Dallas Keuchel, his last couple of starts have been good. Here's the thing with Dallas Keuchel. You just cannot give him or force him to make extra outs. That's it. All right. He's been doing decent to this point. All right. He's been doing well. Solid. Let me just leave it at that. And it's comforting because we were really worried about Dallas Keuchel. Okay. Look at Yasmani Grandal, opposite field with the double, and long single, excuse me. And you see what happened. Like I said, everybody, the pink was in. I thought it was really cool. The pink was in. And it's Major League Baseball did a good job and they do a really good job of making sure everything, they make, they deal with the holidays. 4th of July, they'll have different hats. Memorial Day, Labor Day, they'll have different hats. All right. Obviously here, Mother's Day. So yeah, they'll have good stuff. I like the foresight to get all these things and have them ready for these things. It's cool. And let's not forget, it's a marketing thing as well, because with those hats, they want to sell those hats. All right, they want to sell those hats, and it's more of a revenue stream. It is what it is. But I'll tell you what, it looked cool. I was really happy for. Um, I just thought it was cool on Mother's Day. A lot of pink. The White Sox have now won 6 in a row as they swept the Boston Red Sox. And as I said earlier, right before, this White Sox team is looking a little more relaxed. This White Sox team is looking a little more um, entertaining. All right. It doesn't seem like there is, it's not work to them anymore. It's not a job. This is the type of situation that they had 2 years ago, right before Tony got here. All right, and they were having fun. They're young. They're brash. They're maybe obnoxious to some people, but they're having fun. They're playing baseball. They were having fun, and you know what? It was great to see. And last year they kind of, I felt that they kind of lost that edge of just having fun. I didn't think they were having as much fun with Tony this year as well, but maybe we'll see. But then again, let's not forget, last year you had a lot of injuries to people. You lost Lou Bob, you lost Eloy, and I don't know how much fun you want to have then. I think it's more of a business-like atmosphere necessary last year because everybody had to step up. More people had to do. Everyone had to do more. Okay, to pick up and kind of pick up the slack for Eloy and Lewis Roberts' absence due to their injuries. And then we lost Moncada for a little bit last year, Tim Anderson for a little bit last year. Even Abreu was out a couple times. So we were really dealing with injuries. So maybe the lack of jovialness, I don't know if that's a word, of them acting jovial and crazy, maybe that was just because they really were focused because they had to deal with the injuries. Who knows? But I'll tell you what, in this last 5-6 games, they're looking like they're having fun. They're looking like they're having fun. You don't even have Lance Lynn. He'll be back in June, I believe. You don't have Johnny Cueto, who they signed. He should be up soon. He's ramping it up as well. Dylan Cease is looking like a freaking stud. Thank you, Northsiders. Lucas Giolito has been pitching well. Michael Kopech has lowered his leading ERA to like 1.17 or something. I'll get the exact number. He is on fire. But you know what? Tony is they are taking an extremely cautious approach with him. Giving him 3 innings, 4 innings to start a game and pulling him, and he's mad. I get it. I get why he's mad. I get why they're doing it. But my thing is this. This is his 3rd year. Remember, he sat out 2019 due to COVID issues. Okay. Then in 2020, no, he sat out 2020. Last year he was in the bullpen. So 2020 he sat out. So 19 he was out with the Tommy John surgery. 20 he sat out due to personal reasons. All right. Then 21 last year he came back in the bullpen. So 22, like this should be the year, the 3rd year from what a lot of pitchers, their 3rd year is usually when they're back 100% after Tommy John surgery. This should be about the year. This should be about the year. I get it. Because you want if he's pitching like this now, okay, you want to eat because I can guarantee you they have him on an innings limit. Guarantee they don't want him pitching more than X amount of innings this whole season. Okay, so if that's the case, what you're doing is you're shorting him now the innings, so you can have him later. Okay, that in conjunction with the shorter spring training. All right, these guys are starting to get warmed up, and you're taking more precaution with a Michael Kopech because he's coming off of a shorter spring training and his Tommy John surgery a couple years ago. I would think you'd let him go 4 to 5 every game. Sometimes they're taking him out after 3 or 4, and that really bothers him. He's a competitor. Saw him last time, slam his glove out in the dugout and mad, and he understands it. But by the same token, as he said, he wants to be out there contributing to this team. So if they can keep him healthy, yes, for the rest of this whole year, man. And you know what they might do? They might even have him skip a start just to keep his innings down. They just might do that. Who knows? But anyway, let's move on. The next top of the morning topic, the Cubs. Wow, the Cubs got swept by the LA Dodgers. That's a tough one. After a 7-1 loss at Wrigley Field yesterday, Stroman was scheduled to start. I think that's why it was the ESPN game, Sunday night game. But Stroman was placed on IL without a designation. So that usually means it's COVID related. I'm not positive on that. So Justin Steele was on a bump yesterday. He got the loss. He was he's 1-4 for the season. He went 4 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 3 Ks. Wilson Contreras was 1 for 3, driving in his ninth RBI of the year. The Cubs were just overmatched. The Dodgers are a perennial World Series contender, and they showed it. They showed it yesterday. Walker Buehler put on a clinic for the Dodgers. He got the win. He's 4-1. He went 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 2 walks, 6 punch outs. Trey Turner, he drove in his 21st RBI of the season. Freddie Freeman, he drove in his 10th. So it was a rough weekend. It's been a rough one for the Cubs recently. They're having their issues. They got it. I still, again, if I was a Cub fan, I would not be happy with this particular with this team. They've lost 5 in a row. Okay, and I don't know if I'd be happy with the way that they dealt with their former core. I don't know. I don't think as a Cub, if I were a Cub fan, I don't think I'd be very happy with it. I really wouldn't. I think, again, for me, the issue was building up of the outside of the stadium as opposed to maintaining the product in the inside. I don't know. We'll see.
Can I say something to that, Shawn? Good morning, by the way. And you're right. First of all, you shouldn't be happy with it. But remember when I was talking about how upset I was with how the Theo era ended and how it fizzled out and everything like that. And then all of a sudden you were left with, well, do we, take a risk at keeping some of these guys and they're blowing up in our face? Or when you're left with that at that crossroads, I was hot at what was going on before. You know what I'm saying? I was mad that they were turning into the lovable losers once again because they got complacent. And now all of a sudden, when you see what happens in a rebuild, it's like everybody wants to get upset. I was like, you should have been mad when they weren't winning then, when they weren't going for it then, when they seemed pretty content after 17 in just going ahead and seeing how it plays out with the ball club they put on the field. There was no intent of winning after that. They were trying to figure out a way to get out of these contracts and for some reason save money. I don't think Tom Ricketts is running. Who's the father? Joe Ricketts. I really think Joe Ricketts is running this ball club. I think Joe Ricketts is the puppeteer, the puppet master behind this whole thing. And if you're going to go ahead and spend money, Joe Ricketts isn't about spending money on a fucking baseball team. He even said it. He could care less about it. He's just looking for, it's an opportunity for him. It's an investment. So when you have a situation like COVID, when they're going to continue to blame him on that, and you lose money and stuff like that, I could see where a perfect storm is, or these guys can continue to make excuses and feed it to the fan base, and then they're going to have to accept it. It's just, I'm looking for guys that are competing, guys that are going to be here for the future. There's a lot of good arms out there, younger arms. There's some guys that are coming up. The Cubs, for me, they were done in 18. 18, I was like, this team doesn't want to compete. Like, this team is just content with being a moneymaker, a seller, and that's pretty much it. And then you had COVID, and now they had even more of an excuse. It is what it is, Shawn. This team, if you got players that are contending, I'm watching for it. But other than that, I think this team is going to be, from what I saw, from what we saw at the beginning of April, and I know it's just a small sample size, if you were a contact team like that, I would be accepting of it if you were still losing. But the way that they're losing and the way that they're just kind of accepting of it, it's BS to me.
I hear you, dude. I wonder if after see one of the questions I have is, they didn't go after any young talent. All right. And was it because all their young talent was in the bigs? You mean, was there no young talent left in the minors after, they brought up, Baez and Brizzo and Addison Russell and all those guys, and they brought them all up. Was it depleted completely? Because what happens is they didn't add anyone new. They didn't add any young stars. I mean, I don't know if you want to call Ian Happ a star, or maybe he was like the biggest one they thought, but they didn't add him. They didn't add anyone else, and that was an issue. Like, what's going on with, adding? Even though you have young talent, you still have to feed and add players every year, even if they're not main players. But I mean, look what the Dodgers did. The Dodgers they've been in contention since basically the same as the Cubs. Same as the Cubs, and they went their separate ways after that 17. After the 17 series, when they was it the NLCS, if I'm not mistaken, because they went to 3 straight. So Dodgers kept staying afloat, while the Cubs went in a different direction, like I talked about last week.
You got this, and they did put a lot of revenue out there in Wrigley, right? There's a lot of places to cash in at Wrigley for the Ricketts family, but it just comes down to. It's a single family, Shawn. It's a family that owns it. With the Dodgers, it's a bunch of people. They have a ton of money. There's money that just is coming and going from the Dodgers. The Cubs are trying to do that, but I just feel like there's a conflict within the family that's not like that, where there either there's a conflict or there's an exception of, hey, you know what, we're gonna tank for a few years. We're gonna accumulate as many draft picks as we want, and then after this year, maybe next year, we're going to really start to market the Cubs as winners again. Because this one, it's different. And they're marketing too. Like, how the Cubs have a slogan. It's different here. Yeah, the atmosphere is different when you're fucking winning. And when you're losing, it goes back to everybody's getting drunk and just ignoring the ball game. That's what it becomes. So for me, it's like they need to wake up and realize, hey, you're regressing back into old ways, I feel like, with the Cubs. But maybe they have a super plan that we don't know about. Maybe they do. But right now, like I said, look for players that are contending. Pray to God that Wilson Contreras stays here as a leader. I don't know what the hell's going to go on there. He's probably gone. But just look for guys that want to compete. Look for guys that you think are going to be future Cubs. I'm already doing that. Like, there's guys that I'm like, man, Villar probably gone at the trade deadline if he could do anything, if he could continue if he could continue hitting and just be a defensive player for somebody, he could be gone. Smiley could be gone at the deadline. There's guys that are going to be moving because this team isn't ready to contend, period. They might have sold it that way. I even felt that way coming in, but this team isn't going to compete for shit. So they're going to be sellers again at the deadline. You're going to get more younger players coming in, which is great, but I just don't like people blowing smoke up my ass and smiling in my face after and say, oh yeah, I told you to write. Oh, no, this is what we really meant. It's BS. It's BS. Just be straight with the fan base. You're going to sell tickets regardless. Don't bullshit us.
Well, that's from an impassioned Cub fan. You know what? We're going to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we have more top of the morning topics. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the Sports Zone Chicago.
There's a liner into the left field corner. A fair ball. Harrison scores. Robert will be sent by Super Joe. Relay throw, not in time.
White Sox radio with the call. 3-2 the win Sunday over the Boston Red Sox. Jose Abreu with a 2-run double. Lurie Garcia with an RBI single for the White Sox. Dallas Keuchel gave up 2 runs on 8 hits. He struck out 5 and walked 1. The Dodgers beat the Cubs 7-1 on Sunday. Right-hander Marcus Stroman was scheduled to start, but he was placed on the injured list without a designation, likely meaning the righty was shelved by a COVID-19 related issue. Justin Steele made the start instead, but he left the game before the 5th with a left hand injury. The Bears held rookie minicamp over the weekend. The NFL schedule due to be released this Thursday. For lightning fast sports updates, download the Score app. It's free and one of the most popular sports apps in North America. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the Sports Zone Chicago.
Research shows listeners don't like it when ads interrupt their music. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual customizes home insurance, we made this ad optional. If you want to skip this ad, remove your left earphone. Liberty Mutual customizes home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
If you're missing this informative ad, you must love wasting your cash.
It's the easy and smart way to save.
Now it's all been said, so if that earphone was out, put it back in your head.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Progressive presents today's to-do list for your dog.
Check front door. Check window. Check other window. Rest chin on ground. Look into distance. Bark for no reason. Check front door. Check window. Check other window.
Your pet has a very busy schedule, so it's up to you to make sure they're protected. That's why Progressive Car Insurance covers your pets for up to $1,000 if they're ever in a car accident with you.
Chase shiny ball. Lose shiny ball. Find shiny ball. Eat shiny ball.
Get coverage for your pets with anti-auto policy from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage for cats and dogs included with the purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning at Sports Zone Chicago. That, my peoples, that was the inaugural Miami Grand Prix. Dude, it brought out the A-listers of A-listers. You saw David Beckham. You saw Michael Jordan and his wife. Derek Jeter was down there. You saw Tom Brady down there. It was, Venus and Serena. I always bring the racket like Venus and Serena. They were down there as well. It was an event. In Miami they like to do it big in Miami. And it was an event. It was an event. A good buddy of mine, Graco Funes, he was down there. Big shout out to my boy Graco. I didn't know he was going down there. Dude, I want to go down there. It was crazy. It was nuts though. I assume they're going to have it next year and upcoming years. It looked cool. I'm not a big race car driver, I don't know. I just it's good. It would be cool, and Max Verstappen, he won the inaugural race, which I thought was really cool. And so yeah, it was Miami was the place to have been yesterday. Miami was, not to mention just because it's Miami, but I think that'd been really cool to be down there. But the next top of the morning topic. Oh, look at this. Yeah, this had to be cool. They made it around the football stadium. Dude, parts of this. This was cool. This was cool. This was, I don't know. This was really, in my opinion, this was dope as hell. It would have been awesome to be down there. Yeah, it was really awesome. Let's get to it. The next top of the morning topics. The Bears. Yes, baby. You know what? No, hold off on the Bears. Hold off on the Bears for a second. In historic fashion at Churchill Downs, the second longest shot ever, Rich Strike won the Kentucky Derby. Came from behind, and this was unbelievable to win the 148th running of the Kentucky Derby. It was unreal. This was unreal. They call it the most exciting 2 minutes in sports. Yes. the most exciting 2 minutes in sports, is to have an underdog 80-1. 80-1 come from behind and beat it's insane. It is insane. I can't that's one thing that we have to do. We talked about it on Friday. Jason was giving us a little bit of info on it. That's one thing we have to do is get down to Churchill Downs for the Derby. Nothing like it. Nothing like it. And I'll tell you what, it is, the hat parties, and it was really funny. They have them all over. They had hat parties here in Chicago. I know they had one at a few downtown on my timeline I saw on Facebook. I saw a few people at Derby parties on Saturday. That's got to be cool. Now it's going to be cool to go here, but man, to be down there, that's a whole nother experience. So on our bucket list, down there, either on the infield or just in the stands, and at a Derby party during the week, maybe on a Thursday or Friday, that shit will be dope. Well, now we'll talk about the Bears. Whoo-wee. The Bears held a rookie mini camp this weekend, and it was exciting. Okay, it was exciting. The new regime led by Ryan Poles, the new general manager, the head coach Matt Eberflus, and his new staff. They got their first look at the first draft class of Ryan Poles. Let me tell you, it was fun to see highlights. It was fun to hear interviews. You had Kyler Gordon, their first pick, the second round pick, but it was their first selection in the draft. Jaquan Brisker was their second pick, also in the second round. Two defensive backs who they hope will grow together and become a force in the secondary for years to come. Velus Jones, one of the things about Velus Jones, there's a couple of things. One, and some people are making a big issue of this, and this is people who are bothered. They're bothersome to me. They're bothersome to me. Okay. Everyone's making a big deal about Velus Jones' age. Okay. He's going to be 25 this week. Okay. Usually when you're coming into the NFL, you're 22, maybe 23. Okay. I'm not concerned with his age. Okay. This guy is mature. If you listen to him talk, you see what you hear. And he talks about, he goes, I'm 20, he goes, I'll be 25. Like, he's not, and it's not a bad thing. Like, if you're young and you're an NFL draftee, you want to go, or a young guy, you want to go out to clubbing, you want to go this. There's nothing wrong with it. You're 22, 23. Okay. And this is the first time you probably ever really had money. Okay. So you're going to want to explore the town. Chicago is one of the best cities in the world, best city in the country, one of the best cities in the world. Why would you not want to explore it? Why would you not want to go out in the nightlife? Why would you want to not go out to the dinners and the dancing and the whole bunch of stuff? Okay. But you also have to remember you're here for a reason. You're here to play football. And that's the one thing he said. He's like, I'm all business. I'm 25. I'm here for ball. And the one thing that I thought was really, really cool, and this is why I really can't talk football with a lot of people, because they're just did to this. He showed up in a suit. He came to Bears rookie minicamp in a suit and his own whiteboard. I got goosebumps when I heard that. Okay. It's a message. It's a message that tells you one thing. This guy is about business. He understands playing football is a business. This is his job. And this guy, who's going to be 25 this week, is approaching it as such. You go to work in a suit. He went to work in a suit. He was taking notes diligently. They talked about. He You know, I just think that is that mindset is what I like. You know, they had some clips of him, ChicagoBears.com. He caught a crossing route in his ran, and the wide receiver coach was yelling, "Good job, Bayless! Good job! Make him respect that speed." So, and man, we're gonna talk to Herb Howard at 11 o'clock and see how is that speed? How did he? Was it noticeable? I want to know, was it the speed you're like, oh damn, oh damn? That's the type of speed I want to know. Was it like not like, oh yeah, he was fast. That kid was fast. It was like that. Oh yeah, that's gonna be a problem for a lot of people. How that's the type of speed, when you see someone jump high or run fast or like lift a lot of weight, you're like, oh damn. Oh, you weren't playing. That's the type of speed I want. Hell, he ran a 4.31 at the combine. That's fast. That's fast. He already said he wants to race Darnell Mooney. Like dude, that type of competition already. That's what we're talking about. And it's not as if he's trying to be better than Darnell Mooney and no, not at all. Okay, that's not it at all. What it is okay, you want them to know that you're here and you're ready to make a statement. All right, you're ready to make a statement as a Chicago Bear. All right, so he's pretty old. I wouldn't be surprised if he's as old as Darnell Mooney. What is this, Darnell Mooney's third year? He's probably the same age. All right, but you know what? I love it. I love it. I love it. It's the mentality. This is what we're talking about. You come to work. Remember back in the day where NBA players would come to the arena in suits. They'd come to work, and they asked Mike, and Mike was G'd up, boy. You remember they would always have him. You see him coming in the bowels and arriving at the stadium at the arena, and they're coming in, and Mike was like, "This is a business trip. This is work. This is work. I'm going to work," and I love that mentality. Iverson was one of the first few to not do that. I remember there was an incident with the New Jersey Nets that Derek Coleman, this is an ass. Was it PJ Carlissimo might have been his coach? I'm not remember who. So he said, because on road trips, it was always in a suit. Everyone had to everyone had to wear a suit. So Derek Coleman had just signed this huge contract with the Nets, and he said, well, how much? He goes, how much is it per, how much do we get fined if we don't come in a suit? It told him, and he said, here, I'll write you a check for however many times that we're on a trip. He goes, here's a check for every time that I'm not going to be in a suit. It's just being an ass. Just being an ass. But I digress. Back to Velus Jones and the Bears. I was excited, man. And let's not get it twisted. So I don't want you to say, "Oh, you're flip flopping this and this." I still give this draft a B. I still think the two defensive backs are going to be really, really good. Okay, I think Jaquan Brisker can be a ball separator like he has been. He's going to get to go against his old nemesis, Justin Fields, every day in practice. Remember, they're both in the Big Ten. Velus Jones could end up being a stud. We don't know. Okay. Here's my thing. Just because I'm not happy with what they got, let me not say that. I'm not as happy as I would have been had they gotten a bigger, taller receiver. Doesn't mean I'm not going to support my team. Doesn't mean I'm going to talk shit on them because they didn't do what I wanted. I think it was the right move for them to go get a big, tall receiver. But since they didn't, I'm not going to sit and bitch and moan about it because it's honestly not going to change anything. So if you want to sit there and bitch and moan about it, you're not going to hear that here. All right, I told you what I thought was good from my years as an evaluator. Okay, at a much lower level, of course, not at their level. And I haven't seen all these guys. I haven't seen them. I haven't done the backgrounds on them, nothing. So I'm gonna continue to support my team. I'll criticize them if they need criticism, and I will praise them when they deserve praise. But for me to sit here and continue to say, oh, they should have done this, it's water under the bridge. There's an old saying, the hay's in the barn. The hay's in the barn, so there's nothing you can do about it right now. So I wish them well. I hope Velus Jones becomes the next, Deebo Samuels, Tyreek Hill combo, mutant back, receiver, returner, because he's built like a running back. He's about 6 feet, 205, with purse snatching speed, boy. I'm telling you, purse snatching speed. They have a couple of undrafted free agents. There's a guy, Cyrus. Ah, goodness, I just lost his name. What is his name? Cyrus. He's from Duquesne. He's that big wide receiver that most of us wanted. I couldn't find it. I'll get it. He's a big wide receiver, and watching him in his highlights at Duquesne. Well, first things first. If you're from a much smaller school, you have to dominate. Period. You have to dominate. And he dominated. Cyrus Holder, 6'3", 200 pounds, played at St. Francis from 2016 to 2018. In the last years, he played at Duquesne. He had 60 receptions, 1,120 yards, 13 touchdowns in 15 games. First team All Northeast Conference each of the 2 years at Duquesne. And then in high school, he was all state in track and field and all county in basketball. So he's got a pedigree. He's got an athletic background. Cornelius, we know it, baby. We know it. Listen, if I have to say it every show, I'll say it every show. Let's not get it twisted. They're going to run the God-blessed ball. They're going to run the God-blessed ball. Okay? They are running the ball. Eberflus just came from Indianapolis. Okay? Where Jonathan Taylor was the league's leading rusher. Didn't really have a great passing game or a lot of good receivers over there. They do now with Alec Pierce, but that's another story. Then they'll forget they got Matt Ryan, Matty Ice over there as well. We're going to run the ball. You don't sign a fullback unless you're running the ball. Unless you're running the ball. You don't sign a fullback. So they're running the ball. We're going to do that. And then here's the thing. Now we're running outside zones. And now all of a sudden, after a while, after we beat them, after we pound them, guess what? Now Justin Fields pulls it. Now Curry Bessingame sneaks out the back door. Now Cole Kmet comes across underneath. Oh, we're running the ball. Let's not get it twisted. That is, if you don't, as sure as the sun rises in the east, we're running the God-blessed ball. So last GM took a big wide receiver for his very first pick. Where are they now? Richard, great question. If you look, he didn't grab, first of all, he didn't grab a stud wide receiver. He grabbed a project. All right. Kevin White was a project. Kevin White ran a go route, a post, and a corner. That's the only routes he ran at West Virginia. All right. That's the only route. Those are the routes he ran. The routes that some of the other guys that I wanted him to get, they ran better routes, a more complete route tree. We're going to run the damn it. You're damn right. I'm telling you, people, they are going to run the ball. They are going to run the ball. Okay? And Justin Fields, they're not going to ask Justin Fields to win games yet. They're going to ask him to get better. Okay? I need your confidence. How do you get his confidence? Okay, you run the ball. Okay, you play action fake, hit the fullback out of the backfield, Hit the tight end over the middle. Hit a guy who gets deep. Okay, but run the ball. This is what's going to happen. This is what's going to happen. You got Debo Samuels, two. No, let's not even do that. Let me not do that. Let me call him Valus Jones 1. All right. You got Valus Jones to your ability to use at your expense. Dude, Getsy's going to love this guy. I can't wait till 11 o'clock till we talk to Herb Howard from the Bigs and let us know what he saw from Valus Jones. So let's not get it twisted. We know. Oh, yeah, we're going to run. We're going to run. All right, you got Travis Ebner. No, Treston Ebner from Baylor. This sucker, I'm liking him. Nomad, yes. Balance, ball control, clock dominant, yeah. And you're going to take some shots deep now because you have a Jones. You have a Darnell Mooney. You have the ability. You have people who can take the top off of defense. And you got receivers underneath. You got tight ends underneath. Travis Ebner, great out of the backfield. Great. Trust me. And how it's because I like what they're doing. Okay? I like what they're doing. It's just going to take time. All right? Don't expect the Bears to be 11-6. You're going to be disappointed. You're going to be disappointed. Okay? Here's the cool thing about it. Some of the invitees, 2 of the invitees received a contract. Ball State linebacker and edge rusher Christian Albright was an invitee to camp. Bears signed him. He'll be back in a couple of weeks. And Northern Arizona defensive end Carson Taylor, he was signed as well after the rookie minicamp. Okay, this is great. These are guys who understand it's their time, it's their opportunity, and they're taking advantage of it. Christian Albright is a edge rusher type, outside linebacker, Khalil Max type, stand up, rush the quarterback, dropping coverage type deal. But you're adding. If you don't get it, or you don't see what they're doing right now, especially this year, is they're adding guys who want to compete. They're adding hungry guys. I'm not going to call him PhD because like this dumb scout did who got fired. But they're adding guys who are hungry, guys who want to fight, guys who, they're looking for their break to stick in the NFL, or they're looking for, if they've been in the NFL, they're looking for their first big contract that could change the course of them and their families' lives. So you got, I don't want to say thirsty, you got hungry, you got very determined. That's a good word. Determined players. Yeah. Oh, they're talented. Don't get me wrong. But they're determined. Okay? They're determined. Guys who've been fighting. Okay, if you go to small schools and you feel you've dominated there, you wonder, man, if I had gone here, how would I play? If I had gone here, how would my talent translate to the next level? It happens to all of us who do it. I wondered myself. I'm like, man, because at Holy Cross, I did well. Even though I played limited action my first 3 years because of playing behind 2 All-Americans, I'm like, there are so many games where I was like, man, what if I had gone to like a bigger school like Illinois? Don't get me wrong. I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I went. For me personally, I'm glad I went where I went. But these guys want to compete. It's great. Maybe it's like the Napoleon complex. And Napoleon, meaning because you went to a smaller school, they feel that they can play just as good. Yeah, no man. But this is what they want. This is the whole point. They want it amped up. This is what football is about. This is what football is about. Compete. Okay, very few jobs, probably just the quarterback position, because now we have our quarterback, but even at that point, you still bring in a backup, someone to compete with Justin. Justin knows he's a man. Justin knows he is QB1. I'll bring someone in who can push him. Bring someone in who can push him. Richard, you're damn right. No more entitlements. Everything you get is earned. Earned, not given. And because, Justin, you're QB1, guess what? I expect Getsy and Eberflus to be down your throat the whole time. But I don't think they will. You know why? Because he's putting in the work. They've talked about what he's been there. He's the first guy in, last guy out. Taking his receivers, working with them. He's being a leader. He is being the leader he needs to be. So they're not going to have to put their foot in his ass. This guy wants to win. And I'm telling you, some people, again, this is why I can't talk football with everybody. Because they'll make me headbutt him. Some people still question his ability. Some people still question Justin Fields' ability. Like, have you seen this guy's resume? You've seen his pedigree? In big games, he's been in the biggest stage possible and has succeeded to this point. This guy's going to be good. This team's going to be good. Just got to give it a couple years. They're going to surprise some people this year. So I'm excited for the rookies. I'm excited for them when the whole team comes together, when the vets come back and they have their OTAs. That'll be dope. That'll be dope. What pisses you off, Devon? What are you talking about? Yeah, no, man, they are frustrating to talk to. And especially because I have a really high football IQ. Yeah, it's very, very frustrating. Like, well, he sucks. Why? Because he sucks. So he sucks. The reason you say he sucks is that he sucks. Okay. I'm going to go and do something anywhere from beyond you. I can't tell you how many people I've had conversations whose line of thinking went that way. So he sucks because he sucks. Because he missed a block. Because he dropped the pass. Okay. So no, Jerry Rice never dropped the pass. Steve Largent never dropped the pass. Torrey Holt, none of them dropped the pass. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Who knows? Listen, we got to take a quick break, though. Let's got to end this because on the other side of the break, we're welcoming our guy. He's going to come in. We're going to talk for a little bit about this nice little winning streak we got going. My man Ozzie Guillen Jr. is from Guillen's World's coming on, and we're going to talk why are they winning? Is he ready to put Dallas Keuchel up for the Cy Young? We'll talk about that on the other side of the break. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Ozzie Guillen Jr. up next with your boy, the Superback, right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the Sports Zone Chicago.
There's a liner into the left field corner. A fair ball. Harrison scores. Robert will be sent by Super Joe. Relay throw, not in time.
White Sox radio with the call. 3-2 the win Sunday over the Boston Red Sox. Jose Abreu with a 2-run double. Lurie Garcia with an RBI single for the White Sox. Dallas Keuchel gave up 2 runs on 8 hits. He struck out 5 and walked 1. The Dodgers beat the Cubs 7-1 on Sunday. Right-hander Marcus Stroman was scheduled to start, but he was placed on the injured list without a designation, likely meaning the righty was shelved by a COVID-19 related issue. Justin Steele made the start instead, but he left the game before the 5th with a left hand injury. The Bears held rookie minicamp over the weekend. The NFL schedule due to be released this Thursday. For lightning fast sports updates, download the Score app. It's free and one of the most popular sports apps in North America. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the Sports Zone Chicago.
Research shows listeners don't like it when ads interrupt their music. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual customizes home insurance, we made this ad optional. If you want to skip this ad, remove your left earphone. Liberty Mutual customizes home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
If you're missing this informative ad, you must love wasting your cash.
It's the easy and smart way to save.
Now it's all been said, so if that earphone was out, put it back in your head.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Liberty.
Progressive presents today's to-do list for your dog.
Check front door. Check window. Check other window. Rest chin on ground. Look into distance. Bark for no reason. Check front door. Check window. Check other window.
Your pet has a very busy schedule, so it's up to you to make sure they're protected. That's why Progressive Car Insurance covers your pets for up to $1,000 if they're ever in a car accident with you.
Chase shiny ball. Lose shiny ball. Find shiny ball. Eat shiny ball.
Get coverage for your pets with anti-auto policy from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage for cats and dogs included with the purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms.
It's a romance sport. What? It's a romance sport. Yeah, yeah. It's a romance sport. Yeah, it's a romance sport like that. This one going out.
Movement. Ripped to left field, and that is down into the corner, down the left field line. Joe McEwing waves around a second run. Robert is there, foot first. And the White Sox have taken a 3-0 lead this Sunday afternoon.
A gamble by Joe McEwing at third base, and a gamble because you never really know how the ball is going to carry him off the wall and the relay throw coming in. So the relay throw.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. That clip courtesy of NBC Sports Chicago. That was a game yesterday on Mother's Day where the White Sox swept the Carmines, the Red Sox. I was excited. I was excited. I'm not saying we're going to win the World Series yet, but I was excited because I'm happy with what happened. So you know what? We're going to talk to my guy. He is from Guillen's World. A good friend of the program. You can find him on Twitter at Guillen Jr. Guys, just welcome back to Shawn and Maya, Ozzie Guillen Jr. Ozzie, what's up, Papa? How are you?
How's it going, guys? Happy Monday.
Happy House Music Monday, baby. It is awesome. The weather is beautiful. Oh, man, I love it. I think I'm going to go sunbathe after the show. Work on my tan, baby.
Already ready to go?
Ready to roll, baby. Ready to roll. Let's talk about the good guys, man. They're rolling, too. They 6 in a row. Very happy with it, but no means satisfied, but I'm very happy. What are they doing now? Why are they winning when they couldn't play to run? They couldn't get a hit, a key hit when necessary. What are they doing now that's different than in their, was it 25 game losing streak they had already? Oh, it felt like it.
Well, I think that number one, I think this team's overhyped from a fan base standpoint. They think that they're the Dodgers or any other teams in the National League West, and they're not. Okay, that's number one. They're human. Okay, they're a real baseball team, and they got streaky, which I think that right off the bat, that's another one of my predictions. That's right. It's a streaky team, meaning they can win 9 games in a row very easily, but they can also lose 9 games in a row very easily. I chalk it up to a lot of health. Okay, I don't know what's going on at Tim Anderson in those road trips. I hate putting the pressure on one guy, but this team statistically does very well when Tim Anderson plays very well.
Yeah.
When team plays poorly, the team tends to play very, very bad. Meaning when he's not in the lineup, meaning when his defense is not strong, and meaning when he doesn't produce. We've seen that it's statistically attached to Tim Anderson. And again, I hate comparing teams, but I think that there's guys always on the team that they're not necessarily the leaders, and this is where people get it confused. They're not the leaders. They're not the guy that's getting stuff done in the club. That has nothing to do one with the other. But I'll give you an example on winning teams in the past. Scott Pitsennik was a very big catalyst for the 2005 team. Scott went well, the team went well. Tadahito, people were worried about Konerko and those guys, but when you look at the number and the stats, it was those guys that were scoring the runs. It was those guys that were doing very well. So I think that early on the offense was a little off. The pitching has been great from the start, the starting pitching. I think the bullpen They're trying to figure things out. I think from a standpoint of injuries and kind of getting that, that what spot are we going to be playing in? And again, I think they also played some teams that were playing better baseball. But when I look at the standings, okay, everyone's excited about what the White Sox did, but it's not going to be easy. The Twins also swept their series. Okay, the Cleveland Guardians also won their series against the Blue Jays, and they're 3 games out right now out of the first place, and only a half game up on the Guardians who are coming into town. So again, it's not going to be a team that's just going to roll and steam and win 10 games ahead. I really don't see that today. That could change based on health, but I really think that what affected them was that they were very unhealthy to start off the season, and they were trying to figure out a couple things. And just got caught up in the wrong place at the wrong time, and that got compounded with really bad baseball, throwing the ball around in places. And I think that comes from you start panicking, you try to start forcing the out, you're trying to, make the throw from first base behind you to throw an out. I just think that just happens. But again, we're seeing that this team can, as much as people were hating on them losing the games in a row, it's also very impressive. They went in and they've won 6 games in a row very easily. And it's funny because no one's making a big deal about it, because I feel like everyone's expecting them to do this on a day in and day out.
I'm happy that they're winning 6 in a row. I'm right. I was just in the beginning of the year, I'm like, I don't care if they go on a 6, 9, 10 game winning streak, just win series. That's really all I want. I really want these White Sox to do. Win 2, lose 1, win 2, lose 1. Because before you know it, all of a sudden you're 20 and 10, you're 40 and 20, you're 50 and 25, you're 70 and 35. Like, whoa, where are all these wins coming from? And you're not being talked about. I want this team to kind of stay under the radar. I just think part of me thinks that they're believing their own hype too much. All right. One of the things that wasn't hyped was the pitching, especially of Velasquez and Keuchel. All right, those were the you are the weakest links in this rotation. In the last couple outings, Velasquez and Keuchel, I think, have done pretty well.
I think that everyone thinks. I'll give you an example, and he's my good friend, so I can talk about him any way I want. Alduque Hernandez. Okay, everyone talks about Alduque like he was Cy Young in 2005. There's a reason he came out from the bullpen to do that crazy stuff that he did in Boston, because he wasn't very good in the run at the end of the run. So he had a kid named Brandon McCarthy who was also very well worthy of a playoff start, not only a playoff roster, and he kind of got screwed because he was the odd man out. But he was the weakest link. You're not going to have 5 big time pitchers. Okay,
it's not Atlanta. Atlanta of the 90s.
Yeah, it's not. It's very hard to have, and I think that. The White Sox got a lot of hate because Rendon is doing very well in San Francisco. Okay, The Sox knew that. It was never an issue about if Rendon was good or not. It was an issue if he could stay healthy. And they said, do I pay $44 million to a guy that might not stay healthy, or do I pay a kid the league minimum? And if he goes down, it's still a league minimum in Michael Kopech. Okay, because you needed to have a spot for him. So I think Michael Kopech has thrown the ball very well, even though they're very timid with him at the moment, which is fine. I understand that. I think Vince Velasquez, had Tony pulled him out in the 3rd inning in the previous game, his ERA would not be what it is. And with Dallas Keuchel, I know that he's been hit around and he's very vocal, but there's a couple games there that if the Sox make the plays, his ERA is not a 6. Okay, that's just the reality of it. So if those guys get to eat and consume the innings, I don't see any other guys in the minor leagues that there's a top prospect or, oh my God, we're waiting for Max Scherzer in the minor leagues. It's Johnny Cueto, guys. It's not, Cy Young waiting to come up. I think that him and Dallas Keuchel are very much at the same level. Vince Velasquez, if used the right way, I think has a lot of value still left, okay, in consuming innings. But I think the story is the top 3 guys, and I don't care who you call the ace. Dylan Cease, I don't know why people don't like him, but he's been taking huge steps day in and day out, meaning from his first year that he got to the big leagues, when you look at it, it's been a very steady progress to where he's at now. Michael Kopech, same thing. Healthy, taking huge strides. Lucas Giolito, yes, he's not 23-0 with a 1.05 ERA, and he's a American version of Pedro Martinez. No, but no one is. Okay, Giolito eats the innings that come up, pitches very well, keeps the team in the game. And they've done that. They've been able to help the bullpen a lot and keeping them fresh and not going 2 or 3 innings and having the bullpen pitch, the second day of a road trip. That's what you need from your starters. And if the team hits and the starters pitch like they have been doing, meaning average to above average, you're going to have a very good chance of winning a division. And then in the playoffs, again, those guys have to go in there and do it. I'm not that's a next step type of thing. But right now they have three really solid, three top starters, and the other two guys that are behind them are not horrible. I'll give you an example, man. In the beginning of the year, because of the Miguel Cabrera 3,000 hit, everyone was crying about AJ Hinch, and we need AJ Hinch in the Sox. This is why the White Sox are losing, and the Detroit Tigers are going to win the division, and they're so good. The Detroit Tigers went and spent like 150 mil. Okay, they're 8-19. They're horrible. They just got destroyed by Houston. They have no idea what's going on. Again, you cannot jump on a team for 1 week. They have solid pitching, and pitching is what keeps you in it. The Guardians are doing it right now. I love three White Sox starters, and for the future of the team, okay, meaning the future of the team, Dylan Cease and Michael Kopech opens up that window for a little bit longer. I don't know what's going to happen with Giolito, but two top starters opens your window up for a little longer.
Guys, we're joined by Ozzie Guillen Jr. from Guillen's World, talking White Sox baseball right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. I really love those guys. Dylan Cease, is doing his really, really phenomenal Freddie Mercury impression. I'm telling you what, and he is dealing, boy. He is just dealing. When he gets on, I'm scared when he gets on the mound, because I'm scared that someone's gonna swing and miss and like tear a knee up, like with the stuff that he's throwing right now.
Oh, he's nasty. His God-given ability of what he stuff-wise is ridiculous. I love his demeanor on the mound. It's become more Michael Kopech. Michael Kopech pitches like, I am better than you. You are not worthy for me.
Yes, it's the attitude, the way when he walks on a mound.
It's not the fist pumping. It's not like I'm a bulldog, I have to rip my shirt off. No. It's like when you see them on the mound, and Kopech has this when he was born. Michael Kopech had this coming out of his mother's womb. Like, he has that demeanor of him, which I think is a key in a baseball success story for a pitcher, because they all have it. Guys that throw hard, guys that throw soft. It's like, that you're the man and you're on command. I felt at times that Cease did not have that. He doubted himself.
Yes.
Do I belong here? Am I that good? When right now he is like, there's no one in any offense that is better than what I have to offer, and that is extremely important. Another guy that obviously we're not starting him as a starter, but his demeanor has changed a lot is Ronaldo Lopez.
He's very low. Yes,
he's looking like a grown man on the mound. Meaning these guys have stuff that is so filthy that once they get confidence, again, guys are going to get it. Guys are going to get hit. That happens. That's baseball. But the confidence between Giolito, them, meaning first inning, they give up a run, and then they shut it down. That's adult pitching. It's not like, oh my God, I gave up one run, and like you have a complete meltdown, and now it's 7-0 and it's the fourth. It's like, no, you gave up one run. Big deal. A couple people made a couple bets, that bet first inning run scored. It's 1-0. We got 8 more innings of baseball to play. That's called adult pitching. And I don't know, the credit obviously has to go to the pitching coach, because obviously it's his position, but the maturity level that those guys have been able to take taking a mature step on what it takes to be a big league pitcher, a successful big league pitcher, those guys are definitely taking it. So far, so good.
Dylan Cease had the last couple of years, he's had that one inning. That one inning where he gets shelled. Not even shelled. He gave up a run, one run, 2 runs, 4 runs, and then the next 4 innings he's perfect. He would just get that, and I would always say, if we can just get rid of that inning where he gives everyone up and shuts everyone down, he'd be amazing. Because how many McCann says he had the best stuff? Yes, Manny Grandal even this year said it again, that Dylan Cease has the best stuff. He has the best stuff on this team on the rotation. He just got to prove it. And now you're starting to see that he's believing in himself. And once you get that self-belief and self-confidence that he's got, holy sheesh, dude, he's doing it.
When Ozzie Guillen, we call him the son that Ozzie Guillen wanted. When Ozzie Guillen has been praising your ability from day one, and they have a relationship, they have a friendship. Ozzie's obsessed with him. We love Dylan because we saw that what he was missing might have been that confidence. Because when you see him throwing the ball, it's him and Michael Kopech is just one of those things that when you've been around the game for a long time, Giolito as well, you're like, man, these guys are special, meaning they have stuff that is better than guys like Mark Burley, for example. Like Mark is what he did with his ability was just great in his career, but he doesn't have that filthy stuff. I got guys like Freddie Garcia, man, texting me like, man, that kid's nasty. Guys in the game, Jermaine Dye, like they can see the game and be like, whoa, this guy's stuff is that filthy. That's when you get happy about it. And like when guys in baseball are asking you about a player, that's when you're like, whoa, this guy might be that talented. Because I'll give you an example. Again, marketing and getting hyped up. If Cease came out and said a couple quotes in the newspaper and wore 5 chains and did the moonwalk on the mound, people would be like, everyone in Chicago would be like, this is the greatest coming, since Cy Young. Again, getting hyped up, but he's a very chill guy, weird porn stash now, which is probably the funniest thing that, he's probably done since he got up here, but a very, kind of just do his job type of guy. So again, not a guy that you come in and like, wow, he doesn't put a huge show on. When you look at the numbers, you're like, this is a show. For the people that love baseball and are big baseball followers, when you see a guy like him, when you see a kid like Grease McGuire, the catcher, the new kid, you're like, man, this guy, I was like, why would Toronto give this guy up?
Yeah.
He's catching like you're enjoying the aspect of like, man, I can see the talent. So there's a couple guys on this team that you're enjoying baseball wise. Again, the record for itself, I didn't think the White Sox were going to lose 30 games in a row. I think that they're in where they're supposed to be and they're going to be competing. If those guys pitch like this and they keep maturing, there's going to be a lot of really good baseball late in the season, because you're going to have aces. Like, these guys are making themselves potentially a lot of money, but that means a lot of wins for the White Sox.
Speaking of late in the season and pitching, talk to me about Michael Kopech. He was pissed. He was pissed off the other day when Tony took him out after was it 3 innings, and he was ready to go, and he was he's in his second year after. Remember, he sat out 19 with Tommy John. 20 he sat out due to personal injuries. 21 he was reliever. 22, so now he's in that window now where it's usually like the second or third year, but he wasn't a starter last year. Do you agree with the way they're doing it? And
you know what, I can't disagree, because they're watching his health.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that this is where a communication between a manager and a pitcher and a pitching coach and organization, everybody needs to sit down and have that one-on-one to talk, because you have to understand who Michael Kopech is. Michael Kopech is not a guy that comes out after 3 innings. So do you need to save Michael Kopech from himself, or do you think that you need to kind of give him the confidence to say, okay, why do you want to go 5 innings? And if he says, I'm not worried about this stupid 150 inning count, like, stop counting. Like, I'm going to ride this out until I ride this out. And if God says I'm going to get hurt, then I'm going to get hurt. And that might be his mentality. And then you have to, as a manager and as a team, say, we want to, feel like we're handicapping Michael. We want to, do we just go out and let Michael be Michael? Then that's what you do. Because if that's what's going to make him happy at the end of the day, you need to make that decision, because he could get hurt pitching 3 innings and get hurt in September. That you don't have Lance Lynn got hurt, the other day Keiko got hurt, the closer got hurt, like in the dugout, like slipped and like threw his back out a little bit. Like, you can get hurt in baseball in so many ways. So I think that you have to talk to Michael and understand, because you don't want Michael not to be on your side. He can be a guy that could be a great catalyst to your team and winning. He can also be a huge cancer, because he's that guy that's passionate, and you don't want him to think like, Tony doesn't believe in me. They don't believe him. And this is a part of him, to be honest, man. This is where you're going to teach him how to pitch that 4th, 5th, 6th inning and see how he reacts, because he needs to realize, like, I can go deep in the games, and it's not innings, it's pitch count. And every time he hits 80, I feel like Tony and Katz are like shaking and panicking, and they go get it. He needs to build and say, what's there between 80 and 120, okay, 80 and 100, 80 and 110, and how he reacts to it the next day. He might pitch 110 and feel extremely great and do his workouts and be like, my arm feels great. This belief of pitching on innings and pitches, it's great, but you also need to see how the guy's recovering. If a guy throws 20 pitches and feels crap the next day, there might be something off in his mechanics. There might be a guy that throws 60 pitches and feel amazing the next day because he had the right arm slot. So that's where coaching comes in. Not does Michael have a F-whip, whatever that he has. This is when he might be telling Katz, man, that this arm slot that you found for me, I have no pain. And that's when they should use analytics and say, hey, his arm slot's different. We might have another 60, 70 innings. They need to let him figure out and spread his wings. It's going to be interesting, because I don't want this to happen. I can see Kopech being the guy to tell Tony F off, because he's so competitive, not because he's that kid. When he's on the mound, he's a completely different person.
Yeah.
Who's on the mound is not. If I was his teammate, I would be scared to go up to him and be like, hey, Michael, like, I'd be like, he'd probably look at me like, get away from me before I rip your head off. Abreu. That's who he is, though. That's what he needs in order to succeed. But a fun guy to watch. And again, he's starting tonight versus Plesac. The Guardians are in it. Okay, they're in for
3.
They're in for a very hard 0-3. It could have easily happened, but today they're facing Michael Kopech. And I'll tell you this much: They're hoping that he has an 80 pitch count.
You're damn sure they are.
No, they are. They're like,
Yeah.
okay, we want to get into your bullpen. We want to get, into those guys. But again, everyone in the league knows that when they're facing him, they're going to get, if it's 80 to 120 pitches, here's the part. They're going to take a lot of pitches because they know that he's going to pitch count.
Yep.
So the White Sox need to counter that and say, oh, no, we're going to extend him today. Oh, okay, well, now we're going to approach him differently.
Yeah, give him an extra inning. I think that's a great thing. Hey, Ozzy, great stuff, Papa. I appreciate your time as always. Do me a favor, let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
Yeah, so go to Guillen's Baseball on our YouTube channel. Bilingual, our show Guillen's Word lives in there. We're sharing different types of content, just having a great time talking baseball. And now again, the White Sox. Now it's a little bit more positive. Okay, it was a week of it's very scary. I'm going to say something real funny. White Sox fans on Twitter, and White Sox Twitter knows that we're the Guillens are in a personal war with them. People write on Twitter praising the president of the United States, who's like 100 years old, probably the same age as Tony, on how well he does his job because he's so old. But then in the next sentence say, we cannot have Tony La Russa manage this team because he's so old. People, managing a country is harder than managing a baseball team.
A little bit.
It's coming from somebody whose father made a living at doing the managing thing. Let Tony be Tony. There's going to be a streak. Hopefully this one goes to like 15 games. They will lose 6 games in a row again. Here's the difference. You hope that doesn't happen in the playoffs. But if it happens in the regular season, you know how to bounce back. And this team, in their first challenge of the year, okay, when everyone said that they were not going to make the playoffs, that they were done, that they were going to be 4-20 at the end of this month, and we're going to be the Reds. They put it together, even still injured, and said, let's go play baseball. And now they're back in 500. They're back in the hunt. They're back playing competitive baseball. That tells me more than them winning 20 games in a row and not knowing how they're going to get up after getting knocked down. A great point for them. They started off slow. Guys weren't playing well. They've bounced back from that. That to me is a huge win on the team on where they need to be to win a World Series.
The mindset is what you're talking about, and that's more important than any streak you're going through is the mindset.
More than any winning streak. You can go 27-0, and I'll give you an example. Mike Tyson, one of my favorite boxers of all time. No one knew what Mike was going to do when he got hit in the mouth and hit the floor. He did not know how to get up, and his career took a couple years of tumbling because he had to figure out what do you do when you're hit in the mouth and you're not doing that. The White Sox right now, they're handling that. Okay, they're handling on like. What happens when you lose 3, 4, 5 games in a row? Even when you play good baseball, they could have lost those games.
Right.
A one-pitch walk-off. The fact that you lost it by 6 errors, you still lost. But it's like, what are you going to do as your next step in competition to get better? That's what winning teams do. Tim Anderson was on pace to make 60 errors this year. Literally. He made 5 in like 4 days. Like, we're like, oh my God, what happened? He took, focus. Let me get hitting. Let me go back to fundamentals. That's what good players do.
That's what Ozzy. That's what you go back to the process. And then
process. What am I doing? I'm not that guy.
And you understand you're not going to go 162-0. So you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. Sometimes you just face a better team, but you get back to the process, you stick to the process, and let the results fall where they may. Because if you stick to the process and you're that good, you're that talented, you will win a hell of a lot more games than you lose. And that's in any sport: baseball, football, basketball, or hockey.
And people need to learn the biggest thing about the win on Sunday, not the fact that they swept, the fact that Tim Anderson was not in the lineup, okay, and that Dallas Keuchel was on the mound, okay, because everyone was at home and saying, oh, this is an L. Yeah. Because that's how White Sox fans.
At least you won the series. At least you won the series.
Look at the lineup and say, oh my God, Pantera's not playing and we're taking an L. And it's like, no, those guys that put on the uniform, okay, it'd be Larry, McGuire, they don't see themselves as backups. When you look at the lineup, whoever's in that lineup that day, everybody, even the guys that aren't playing, Tim Anderson did not say, oh, we're going to lose today because I'm not playing. No, he's like, this is your job. Like, I'm just having a day of rest. You guys need to go out there and produce without me. Like, I can go down in 2 weeks for 3 weeks. Like, next guys step up. And when you do that as a team, you're not looking over and saying, oh, my God, it's happening in Anaheim, man. No one looks at Mike Trout now because they stopped that mentality of like, oh, Mike needs to do the production. No, dude, it's a team sport. Everyone has a role. So when that clubhouse is that win on Sunday for a sweep against Boston without the main guys playing, that's when you say, okay, now we're building a team culture of everybody has something to do. We're going to win games when we have Dallas on the mound. We're going to win games when Vince is on the mound, just like we're going to lose games when Michael's on the mound and Cease's on the mound. This is a team. That's what you need to build to September to the pennant race, because guess what? In the playoffs, okay, there's going to be a day where the 4th and the 5th starter have to pitch. Okay, Willie Harris scored the winning run of the World Series game, okay, for the 2005 White Sox. It wasn't Iguchi. It wasn't Patsenik. It wasn't PK. It was Willie Harris, okay? That's who scored. Remember that. Everyone on your team is an important person, a piece of the puzzle in order for you to win a ring.
Guys, he's Ozzie Guillen Jr., man. Thanks, Papa. We'll be in touch.
Talk to you soon, buddy. Thank you for having me.
All righty. Bye. Guys, it's Ozzie Guillen Jr. I didn't get a chance to tell him. So yesterday, my buddy was at the same restaurant because my buddy lives out here in Orland. And they were, and so a friend of mine, a high school buddy, sends me a picture. He's like, Ozzie Guillen's at the next table. I was like, I felt like saying, yeah, well, Junior's a good friend of mine. So they're out there obviously doing the Mother's Day thing, and my guy sends me a picture. He's like, oh, I got Ozzie Guillen at the next table. It's crazy. It's nuts. But you know what? That's right. He's right. And you know what? The Sox have a lot of experience. Unfortunate, but fortunate. All right. It's unfortunate that they've had to deal with a situation where they've had star players out, but they did. So it's fortunate that they know how to deal with it. All right. The season doesn't stop. All right. Nobody gives a damn if you're hurt. Your star player's hurt. Your star pitcher's hurt. No one gives a damn. All right. The White Sox dealt with that all last year. Okay. And guys stood up. Other guys, next man up, had the next man up mentality. Andrew Vaughn, Gavin Sheets, all those guys, all those youngsters that came up. Hell, remember the Yerminator? All the youngsters that came up produced. All right. So now they're not worried about, oh, can I produce? No, they're not. If someone's down, I'll step up. Why? Because I've done it before. Tim Anderson's not in the lineup. Okay, fine. All right. Now it's my turn to get a base hit. Now it's my turn to get a sac fly. Now it's my turn to turn a double play. It's my turn. The confidence that a lot of these young guys have because of what they went through last year is starting to show. It wasn't showing earlier, that 9-game losing streak. It wasn't. Okay. But whatever happened, they've turned the corner. They're winning 6 in a row. And now the real challenge comes. You got Cleveland for 3 and the Yankees for 4. So big week for the White Sox. If we come out 5-2 from this, I'm loving it. 5-2 from this. 4-3 is the worst I'd want to be. I'd like to go 5-2 or better. Well, listen, we got to take a quick break. On the other side of the break, we have more sports conversations, so don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the Sports Zone Chicago.
There's a liner into the left field corner. A fair ball. Harrison scores. Robert will be sent by Super Joe. Relay throw, not in time.
White Sox radio with the call. 3-2 the win Sunday over the Boston Red Sox. Jose Abreu with a 2-run double. Lurie Garcia with an RBI single for the White Sox. Dallas Keuchel gave up 2 runs on 8 hits. He struck out 5 and walked 1. The Dodgers beat the Cubs 7-1 on Sunday. Right-hander Marcus Stroman was scheduled to start, but he was placed on the injured list without a designation, likely meaning the righty was shelved by a COVID-19 related issue. Justin Steele made the start instead, but he left the game before the 5th with a left hand injury. The Bears held rookie minicamp over the weekend. The NFL schedule due to be released this Thursday. For lightning fast sports updates, download the Score app. It's free and one of the most popular sports apps in North America. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the Sports Zone Chicago.
Research shows listeners don't like it when ads interrupt their music. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual customizes home insurance, we made this ad optional. If you want to skip this ad, remove your left earphone. Liberty Mutual customizes home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
If you're missing this informative ad, you must love wasting your cash.
It's the easy and smart way to save.
Now it's all been said, so if that earphone was out, put it back in your head.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Progressive presents today's to-do list for your dog.
Check front door. Check window. Check other window. Rest chin on ground. Look into distance. Bark for no reason. Check front door. Check window. Check other window.
Your pet has a very busy schedule, so it's up to you to make sure they're protected. That's why Progressive Car Insurance covers your pets for up to $1,000 if they're ever in a car accident with you.
Chase shiny ball. Lose shiny ball. Find shiny ball. Eat shiny ball.
Get coverage for your pets with any auto policy from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage for cats and dogs included with the purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms.
know what? Can I do this?
All right, sure, you can do whatever you like.
Yeah. Do you mind telling me your name so that as we get going, I can call you by name and get to know you more than just the media, if I could? Apologize for interrupting, but can you just and I should know your name, but I'm working on those.
My name is Herb Howard. I'm with the Bigs Media.
Okay.
Coach, we've heard a lot about Kyler's versatility to play inside, to play outside. How do you view him? Will you try and get him to be a versatile player for you to be able to do both things, or we kind of focus on one from the onset and just kind of let him get that down, or are you going to try and cross-train him?
You already answered my question. Yeah, we're just gonna let him do what he does and kind of see how he shapes out, and then give him one thing to do, and that's right now that's outside, and then we'll see, how much he can do, how much we can push him. But as of right now, he'll be an outside corner. I'm not sure if it's left or right. Will yet to be determined, and we'll go from there.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning at Sports Zone Chicago. That clip courtesy of ChicagoBears.com. Defensive coordinator Alan Williams talking about their new cornerback. And I'll tell you what, man, I'm excited. I'm excited to see these guys, to see him play. He looks he's extremely athletic. They showed him with a crazy vert. This guy has an interesting background. Just talking about he was in dance. So he was in I don't know, he said anything but ballet. So it was like it was classical, it was hip hop, a lot of things. So I know some meatheads might say, "Oh, why is he in dance? Is he, whatever?" If you don't realize, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was in dance. They put him in ballet. They put Kareem Abdul-Jabbar because he was growing. They wanted him to get coordinated and get his feet together. And he only went on to be the NBA's leading scorer. But what dance does, one, there's discipline in dance. Dancers are unbelievably strong people. Their core is very strong. Their footwork and their rhythm and their balance is amazing. Amazing. Okay. All the things you need as a DB. You need your core strong. You need your balance. You need your footwork. Okay, especially as a DB and you're backpedaling and you have to stop and turn and twist and start and come back up and go back at an angle, come up at an angle. Dance is great, and he was also in karate too, if I'm not mistaken. So this kid was well rounded. It's very similar. I took karate. But I'm in that generation where I played all sports. I played baseball, football, and basketball. Okay, and when I was younger, I was in karate. And I had gotten to the point back then. So this is the 70s and early 80s. I got to a brown belt because at that point you had to be 16 to become a black belt. Why? I don't know. Who knows? And it might not even be true. That's probably just what they told my mom. I don't know. But I had gone and I was a brown belt to that point. The point of that is that when you are well-rounded, okay. Now watch for this kid and let's see. Ivan, just kind of remember this day, and let's see if this kid gets injured a lot. Okay, because when you play different sports, your body is contorted in different ways. Okay, and if it's not used to being in that position, is where injuries happen. Which is why they hate. It is highly frowned upon to have your son play basketball all year round. Highly frowned upon to have your son play baseball all year round. You want them to be multi-sport athletes. And if you're looking for your kid to get a scholarship, you look no further than Nick Saban, or even back when Urban Meyer was at Ohio State. They go after multi-sport athletes, not just football players, multi-sport athletes. Basketball players, basketball teams, they want multi-sport athletes. They want guys who played football, guys who played baseball. Okay. Just keep an eye on the health of Kyler Gordon and see if he's very durable. And if he is, I can guarantee you that a part of it is because his being well-rounded and being a multi-sport athlete puts your body just in so many different positions, and you have to be able to compensate for it. All right, basketball, you come down on one leg oftentimes. Okay, you're just the way the muscles that you need in those sports are very different. So let's just keep an eye out for it. Nomad, you said they made you take ballet at Marshall. Yeah, it's nothing. Back in the day, a lot more meatheads were like, "Oh, you took dance. You're a sissy." Okay, but you're understanding what the purpose of it is. Like people like, oh, and people first started doing yoga. They're like, "What? That's for chicks. That's for girls. That's for women." All of a sudden, you realize that yoga is a core strengthening, exercise. You're like, whoa, well, yeah, you know what? Maybe more athletes should start doing yoga to strengthen their core and reduce the number of injuries. So it is it's quite interesting. Looking forward to that. The Cubs are in a little bit of a free fall. The Cubs have lost 5 in a row. They lost 2. They lost the first 2 with the White Sox. The first 2 of that 5-game winning streak or losing streak with the White Sox Tuesday and Wednesday. Then they just got swept by the Dodgers. So there's a lot that's going on over there on the north side. You need to figure out the starting pitching has been an issue. Okay. Yesterday, what was the issue yesterday? Marcus Stroman got put on the IL. So he was scheduled to start yesterday, which is, like I said, which is why it was probably the Sunday night ESPN game of the week. It would have been Marcus Stroman versus Walker Buehler. Nice pitching matchup. But it didn't play out that way. Okay. Was it Steele got the win? What do you think they're going to do with Contreras? And if you're Wilson Contreras, do you want to stay with the Cubs? If you're Wilson Contreras, do you want to get traded to another team? Okay. This team obviously doesn't care about you. Okay. They jettisoned everybody else. Bryant, Rizzo, Baez, Schwarber, even Addison Russell. I mean, he had to leave for other reasons, but your whole core is gone. And they're taking you to arbitration over $1.2 million. So you want me to stay here, be a leader for all these young guys, and we're literally $1.2 million apart on a contract, and you won't budge? Let's go to arbitration. How about a show of good faith? How about, hey, we left you here with nothing during a rebuild. We'll give you the 1.2. It's not like fans aren't, they're not. They haven't been sold out because the weather's been crappy. It'll get pretty close to capacity. I don't know if they're going to sell out on a consistent basis, but then people will go back. You get days like this today, 80 degrees. 80 degrees. Too bad they're in San Diego, but if they were home, like the White Sox game tonight, I expect there to be a lot of people this whole week. 3 versus Cleveland, 4 versus the Yankees. Well, once the weather gets nice, people will start going to Wrigley Field. And they want to hassle you over $1.2 million? Not good business, in my opinion.
Have you seen the ticket prices, Shawn? Have you seen the vending prices? You know what I mean? Do you realize we're about to be in a recession here? In all seriousness, for them to continue to market it, like they need to just be real, and fans should just be real with themselves. They're not going to pay Willie. I feel it in my heart. They're not going to pay Willie. They'll trade Wilson Contreras. They'll trade Wilson Contreras, like I said, get as many pieces as they want and continue this rebuild, if you want to call it that. They can say compete all they want. I think David Ross is still going to be secure because they kind of propped him up into that position. He's going to be the manager. You know what I mean? I guess he has to have a good rapport. He's a Cubs legend for what he did in the World Series, obviously. Winning the World Series with the team, being a leader there. I don't have a problem with David Ross. I have a problem with the way that they're marketing the Cubs and then they're going about business. Like, you could say you could contend with some of Schwindel going down. Guys are struggling right now. They are a young team and there's a lot of baseball left. But watching it and then just hearing the excuses and not seeing anything really on the horizon, you got some good prospects, but those guys are maybe a year or two away from really even being a thought about being on this team. Maybe you get a guy or two at the back end of this year, Brendan Davis, but the majority of those prospects, they're still a little bit away. Are any of these guys going to be on this team besides Seiya Suzuki? Like there's a lot of questions I have now, especially if they continue to free fall and end up in the bottom trying to compete with the Reds to see who gets to last place first. It's a weird situation. I think this season you could chalk it up, and maybe I'll eat my words, but now that I'm looking at it and you hear it and you just see the product on the field, this ain't it.
I mean, and Wilson's gonna be 30 on Friday, so I mean, it's for him. I'd ask for a trade. The fact that they still argue over 1.2 is bugging me. So where do you go? Like all your guys are, even Suzuki's hitting the wall. You're having guys here who Schwindel was a good story last year. Frank the Tank. Who else were some of the other guys that? Patrick Wisdom. Okay, there are some try-hard players last year, but to not pay, you still got Jason Hayward's $10 million? Or I'm kidding. Actually, $10 million is cheap. You got 2 years left on that? Is it next year that his contract is up after 23, or is it 24? I don't know. We'll see. But you got his contract, so he's not going anywhere. It's just a shame for me that they're taking this stance with Wilson. So who's your backup catcher? Who's the backup catcher that they have? Okay, Jason. Yeah, it's Jason Hayward's contract is up next year, $22 million. He's $22 million this year, $22 million next year, and after 23, he's an unrestricted free agent. They got a lot to do. One of the questions that I had beforehand was when you dealt Yu Darvish, like you dealt Yu Darvish, you dealt everybody else. Like, did you not think that there was enough in the tank? Because those were names. People come to see Yu Darvish. People still come to see Bryant, Rizzo, Baez. And when I talked about them acting like a mid-major team, I know they're not the Dodgers, but they got money. They got money. They have plenty of money. And to see that it's just interesting. It's because you don't know how long this rebuild is going to be. Are you counting on Frank the Tank, Frank Schwindel, Patrick Wisdom? Who are you counting on in this rebuild? Who is the one guy that you say I can't wait to see?
I guess it's Seiya, right?
And Seiya's struggling right now.
Right now, I would say Seiya, and then after obviously people in Chicago, Ed Howard. You know what I mean? I want to see Ed Howard come up, see what he has to offer. But then you look at it, Nico Horner. I like Nico a lot. I think Nico's a captain type of player, right? He's a captain type of player. He's consistent. You know what I mean? A professional. He looks like a pro ball player, Nico Horner, right? A guy that you could trust, a guy that's going to be consistent throughout your lineup, hopefully for years to come. I still question him being a face. You know what I mean? Like Ian Happ. Is Ian Happ a face, or is he a guy that's just going to be gone to help another team down the line? Like these guys, they bring a lot of questions, and a lot of them are reclamation projects. You got Wisdom, a former first rounder. These guys are maybe they're boomer bust picks. It's almost as if the Cubs want to be the Oakland A's. They want to play that hardcore money ball, like real money ball, and see what they do. I don't know what they're gonna do this season. I don't know how the rest of it's gonna go. The next 2 years, if they don't start bringing guys up and they don't find success, you're gonna be hearing Jed Hoyer getting like rumors about Jed getting fired. You're gonna hear a lot of fans revolting because of how the ownership has been cheap. Cheap. It's the only way you could say it.
Yeah. It's I don't, Ian Happ, you mentioned he's going to be 28, but not till August. So he can't be part of this rebuild. He's not part of the rebuild because it's going to take 3 or 4 years. You want Ian Happ at 30, 31, 32? Is that where you want Ian Happ? You want him here then? So now you're, I don't know. I don't know what their plan is. I don't know what their, are they just saying, hey, listen, this year is going to be an eat it year, this year, next year? Because even when they start bringing guys up, do you expect the crop of new talent to come up this year? No. Do you expect the crop to come up next year? I think possibly. I think they can start matriculating up next year in 23, and then 24 they'll all be here. So now you're asking fans to, what did you say? Pay those high ticket prices, pay those high concession prices for another this season and next season? And you're putting out a shit product? You're putting out a product that doesn't compete?
Not to mention Marquee, Shawn. You're paying for Marquee too.
Forgot about the Marquee Network. To watch the Cubs, you have to pay at home, in addition to your cable. So for me, I wondered why the Dodgers can do what they do and the Cubs not. Cubs had a big payroll. Remember we thought maybe that's why Theo left. He's like, I'm out. There's nothing left. I don't want to be around here. When it gets bad, it's gotten bad. It's gotten bad. I don't know where the Cubs are going to go. I really would like for them to get competitive, but it doesn't look good. NL Central is tough, very tough. Now people are starting to sour on Nicky Two Strikes. He's going through it tough. I saw an article yesterday, and of course, a lot of times these are just for clickbait. All right, they need you to click so you can. But they talk about should you send Nicky Two Strikes down to AAA? No, man, just go there and enjoy the expensive beer and the hot dog. Though they're expensive, all right, dude.
Cheap beer and radio on the porch. I'm good. Cheap beer and radio on the porch. Because I'm like, I want to go to a couple more games, but it's hard to be like, I'm gonna go out of my pocket, and the Cubs are gonna get beat down. You know what I'm saying? And it's looking more and more bleak as the season goes on. Early in April, I was excited for that one win, that one win I got to see, but it doesn't look good.
Yeah. It's. I'm just wondering why they went the route they did. You can see it because LA, you don't have to build up anything like the Ricketts were building up Wrigleyville. The building adjacent to Wrigley Field, Gallagher's Way, the hotel, all the other stuff. It sounded good. And then you just let the product on the field. Because I don't know. I would have liked. I just would have liked to have seen them got something for all those guys. Like there's not one, and you'll have to remind me because I'm not even sure who they got, the prospects they got for Rizzo, Bryant, and Baez. I don't even know who they got. I don't even know who they got. You got. I mean, you saw what New York got for New York got Gleyber Torres for Chapman, but usually you'll get a slew of, one, you'll get a guy like, okay, this is a top prospect, and we should hear about him. I'm not hearing about anybody in the Cubs, except for Ed Howard, but it has nothing to do. That was a couple years ago. Where are they going with this organization? My tickets for the Cubs Sox was over $100 each. Each over $100. So, it's a lot of money. You're right, Ivan. That's a lot of money. And some people, if you You don't want to pay for the marquee network, and you're going to have to listen to it on the radio. 670 The Score. You know? Because I'll tell you what, it ain't just the ballpark. It's that, that hot dog stand right across from Output? So we went in there because we went to the game Monday. We ate at Output before the game. All right, so I'm like, maybe I'll buy a slice of pizza or a hot dog in the game. But the longer we were there, I'm like, yeah, I'm not buying it. Only thing I really wanted was maybe nachos. And I even said, yeah, no. I wasn't buying beer. I don't drink beer very much because it'll probably aggravate my gout. So I'm like, no. So afterwards, we went back to Output. I'm like, all right, should we have some wings? Because even they're pricey. They're pricier at Output Wrigleyville than they are at Output Grand. So I'm like, I could just drive back to Grand and have, 10 wings. Save like $3, $2, whatever. I was like, no, you know what? There's a hot dog stand across the street. Right across from the Metro and Output, because Metro and Output are 2 doors down from each other, same side. And I'm like, okay, cool. Let me go get a hot dog for me and the person I was with. I go in. I was like, "Do you have any double dogs?" Like, we don't sell double dogs. Like, who doesn't sell double dogs? Who doesn't sell double dogs? All right, what do you got? Okay, you got a hot dog. I said, "You want a hot dog?" And yeah, they wanted a Chicago style dog. I'm like, just put ketchup and mustard on mine. Like, you got the combo hot dog, fries, and pop. Yeah, $24. Did you hear me? $24. $24 for 2 hot dogs, 2 fries, and 2 pops. $24. I was like, I told the dude, I looked at the person I was with, and I looked at the dude, I'm like, this is the last time you'll ever see me in this spot. Last time. $24. 2 hot dogs, 2 fries, and 2 pops. Get out of here. No way. No way. So so my thing is, how soon do you bring these guys up? Because if I'm the Cubs, here's what you do. Remember the White Sox, and this is I got to give credit where credit's due. Frank Thomas, we were at Sox Fest about 5 years ago, and these guys they had just gotten everybody. Yo-Yo, Lou Bob, Eloy, they had all those guys. They're all in the minors. Some were in single A, some were in double, some were in triple. Frank Thomas said this at Sox Fest. It stuck with me and it made the most sense. He said, put everybody in double A. He said, your whole core, he goes, I don't care if they're in triple A or in single A. He goes, move everybody to double A. He goes, and bring them up together. He goes, now what you're doing is you're bringing these guys who are going to be the new core. They're starting to play baseball together. They're starting to form relationships. They're starting to grow and get better and become very familiar with each other, especially middle infielders. Okay? First baseman, he needs to understand how the third baseman is going to throw him the ball the majority of the time, how the shortstop is going to throw him the ball the majority of the time. He said, put him in double A, bring him up to triple A. He goes, and then very slowly bring them up one by one to the bigs. He goes, let them have. So now you're in the bigs. You know what? It doesn't matter. You're going to make mistakes. Let them make mistakes. Let them make mistakes together. Okay? Get everybody excited about the Chicago Cubs, excited about the new generation of Cubs. Because I don't know, I don't have the marquee network, so I don't know if they're doing what the White Sox did, and they had a lot of Charlotte Knights games on. Remember a couple of years ago before everybody came up, and they had the Charlotte Knights game. You're like, holy cow, they had as many Charlotte Knight games, like half as many Charlotte Knight games as White Sox games.
They ain't got none of that, Shawn. None of that. And that was genius by the White Sox because they ain't got none of that on marquee. At least I haven't seen any Iowa Cubs or South Bend Cubs or what was it the Smokies? None of them have been on the marquee network. You get like I don't know, you get some like random like rowing or kayaking or something that they went ahead and sold airtime to. That's what you get.
Okay. that would be phenomenal to do that. But Ed Howard, do it. All your other youngsters, get them in double. Okay, get them in double. So they should, you know what? If they want to do it right, bump it. Have those guys start next season off right. All right, get them in Double A now. By the end of the year, get them in Triple A. Maybe some guys will be ready to come up to the show. All right, maybe one or two, but then starting next season, bring them all up. Hey, we're rebuilding. We get these guys. This is the face of the Chicago Cubs moving forward. It's what they do. I'm anxious to see Ed Howard, see how well he plays. Number one prospect, Southsider. Went to my rival high school. Interesting to see how well he plays. So, I don't know. I just don't know. It's the prices, dude. The prices are just insane. I'm glad I'm probably not going to go to any more games at Wrigley this year. There's no need for me. The Sox have already been there. But my goodness. Cub fans. Oh, listen, we got to take a quick break. On the other side of the break, our guy Herb Howard is going to join us. The Bears just got done yesterday with their rookie minicamp, and there was a lot of excitement revolving around this minicamp. It's the first for this new regime, first for the new head coach. Things are different, right? The old way is gone, and it's kind of like a springtime, but a dawn of a new era. The dawn of a new era. Okay, so we're going to talk to Herb Howard on the other side and see what was the feel? I want to see how fast Velus Jones looked in person. Because I've been around some fast dudes in college. I had a kid out of Texas, Maury Bonner. Dude ran a legit no frills. I've seen a legit no frills 4.3 run in front of my face. I'm like, damn. Remember I talked about when somebody like, whoa, that type of speed? I've seen that type of speed when I was in college. Maury Bonner, kid out of Texas. That mug was no joke. So Herb Howard on the other side. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
I would say it's really a blessing. I came here, I want to win games, and I want to help this coaching staff win games, and I'm all about winning. And any way I can affect the game, definitely in the return game and as a receiver, I feel like you can never learn enough. And however, I can help my team. And so, no, I'm blessed that I can do both because I can impact the game in different ways, especially for this team. So I'm really excited about that. But wherever they need me to be, that's where I'll be.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the Sports Zone Chicago.
There's a liner into the left field corner. A fair ball. Harrison scores. Robert will be sent by Super Joe. Relay throw, not in time.
White Sox radio with the call. 3-2 the win Sunday over the Boston Red Sox. Jose Abreu with a 2-run double. Lurie Garcia with an RBI single for the White Sox. Dallas Keuchel gave up 2 runs on 8 hits. He struck out 5 and walked 1. The Dodgers beat the Cubs 7-1 on Sunday. Right-hander Marcus Stroman was scheduled to start, but he was placed on the injured list without a designation, likely meaning the righty was shelved by a COVID-19 related issue. Justin Steele made the start instead, but he left the game before the 5th with a left hand injury. The Bears held rookie minicamp over the weekend. The NFL schedule due to be released this Thursday. For lightning fast sports updates, download the Score app. It's free and one of the most popular sports apps in North America. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the Sports Zone Chicago.
Research shows listeners don't like it when ads interrupt their music. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual customizes home insurance, we made this ad optional. If you want to skip this ad, remove your left earphone. Liberty Mutual customizes home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
If you're missing this informative ad, you must love wasting your cash.
It's the easy and smart way to save.
Now it's all been said, so if that earphone was out, put it back in your head.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Progressive presents today's to-do list for your dog.
Check front door. Check window. Check other window. Rest chin on ground. Look into distance. Bark for no reason. Check front door. Check window. Check other window.
Your pet has a very busy schedule, so it's up to you to make sure they're protected. That's why Progressive Car Insurance covers your pets for up to $1,000 if they're ever in a car accident with you.
Chase shiny ball. Lose shiny ball. Find shiny ball. Eat shiny ball.
Get coverage for your pets with anti-auto policy from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage for cats and dogs included with the purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms.
It's a romance sport. What? It's a romance sport. Yeah, yeah. It's a romance sport. Yeah, it's a romance sport like that. This one going out.
No, I mean, one, physically, he's a physically mature dude. I mean, he can handle this league. You can see that already. And then the speed just jumped at you on the tape. I mean, when that guy gets the ball in his hand, he looks like 4-3 on the field. Not many guys can do that. And I think that's what stood out about this guy. He has a chance to score every time he touches the ball.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. That clip was the offensive coordinator of our Chicago Bears, Luke Getsy, and he's talking about Speed Demon, the Flash, and the new wide receiver, Velus Jones, who just got done with his rookie minicamp, and he said he looks the part. He said, but let's be honest, what are they going to say? No, he didn't look the part. He was. I think we maybe overdrafted him. You really expect them to say that? Probably not. Probably not. But listen, my next guest, he was there. All right. He was there. He asked the question. He's up there asking the tough questions all the time. Every time they have access to the media, and I love it. He is a good friend of the program. And you know what? Oh, there he is. He's back, baby. Guys, let's welcome back to Shawn and Maya, our guy, Herb Howard. Herb, what's up, Papa? How are you?
Shawn, what's going on, brother? How you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling good. What's with the Yankees hat? You just a hip-hop head? Is that what it is? You just got to wear a Yankee hat?
I got a lot of hats, man. Anything that matches my clothes for the day works for me, man.
I got you. See, I went to school with a whole bunch of New Yorkers, so I could never wear that hat anymore.
Oh, yeah, I feel you on that.
I had a guy from Queens, from Strong Island. He was one of my guys Monty used to talk about. Yeah, so I can't wear that. I used to like the Yankee hat. Shaolin. One of my girls was from Staten Island. So yeah, good stuff. I feel you.
Yeah.
So the Bears, man, the Bears just wrapped up their rookie minicamp, and we just saw Luke Getsy right before you came on talking about Velus Jones. And my first question to you was, how did he look? Did he look like the legit? Because when I was in school, I had a guy. We had a DB, punt returner, who ran a legit 4.3. He was a track dude, And I had in high school, I had a really fast. It's a white dude, and then our running back was a black dude, and those two were like the fastest on the team.
Okay.
I thought that was fast.
Yeah.
I was like, damn. I got to college. I saw this dude. He ran a 4.3, and I was like, oh damn.
That's different.
Oh damn! Like in person on the field, running 4.3, like whoa, that's another animal.
Yeah.
How did Velus Jones look to you over the weekend?
I think that's what's most impressive about him. He's not just 4.3, when he's running a straight line 40. You can see that speed on the field with the ball in his hands. Now, obviously, we didn't get to see him, padded up or anything. It was shorts and T-shirts. But you can just see that initial burst, that initial explosion when he gets the ball in his hands, how he tucks it away, turns it up. Even if he just gives you that, 15-yard burst after the play, you can just see it's a different gear. I mean, we get to see, NFL guys out there doing it all the time. And so they're doing the same things. You can just see that his gear is just a little bit different. His 0 to 60 is a little bit different. And it shows up on the field the same way it would on the track.
So he's one of those guys, like if you take a false step or you don't see him right away, he's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think his ability to take like a slant, right, and be able to either split that linebacker or get up to that next level and split the safeties. I think that's where that speed shows up, or the way he's able to eat up an angle when he's hitting the sideline. You've got somebody coming from the middle of the field, and it seems like they got an angle on him. The way he's able to eat that angle up and that they can't actually track him down, that's where that speed really, really shows up. I think that it seems to show up more after he has the ball in his hands than when he does. I don't feel like you necessarily see it while he's running his routes, and I think that's just going to come with a little bit him becoming more of a technician in terms of his route running and knowing exactly what he's trying to do with the route running that'll allow him to run the routes at top speed. But once he gets the ball in his hands, his instincts just take over, and you can see that he has a different gear than most people walking this planet.
Okay. Are you concerned at all that he'll be 25 this week?
I'm not. I'm not concerned about it. I mean, listen, you talk about, we really start to say guys getting old after they kind of turn the corner at 30 and they're 31, 32, 33. Meanwhile, average NFL career is 3 or 4 years. And so I don't know how long the guy is going to be in the league, but certainly in 4 years, he'll still just be 29. And so I think you'll get him through his rookie deal and reevaluate him then. He could be 30 years old by then, perhaps. But you get him through that deal and then see where he's at. And so no, I'm not concerned that he's 25. It's cool that he seems to really be a mature young man. He seems to have his mind, squarely focused on football. He keeps reiterating that he's not a party or a club or not interested in going out and doing those types of things. And so I think that it's only adding a level of maturity to his approach to the game. So it doesn't concern me at all. No.
What are your thoughts about him showing up in a suit with his own whiteboard?
I think you overdo it sometimes. I know a lot's been made about that, and I mean, I guess it's a story. And this time of year, everybody's reaching for stories. But okay, he decided to come to work in a suit. That's fine. I mean, whatever. I think it's overblown. I think he overdid it. He could have showed up nobody cares, right? Show up in a jogging suit, put on your cleats, and then let's go. We're good in the classroom. Let's go. I do think it's cool that he's been intentional about learning this stuff. And so, whiteboard or a notepad or whatever it is, just being intentional about, improving yourself and learning the job. And so that's, again, you talk about a guy who has that kind of speed, you want to make sure that he can play at that speed. And if he's out there thinking and not sure what he's doing, that's kind of going to take that 4.3 down to 4.4. And, you got guys, running with him that shouldn't be running with him. And so I think that the more he knows, the better he knows it. And then that'll allow him to play fast. So I do think it's cool that he's being intentional about learning things. The whiteboard is more impressive than the suit to me. When Darnell Mooney came in and he bought, his own jugs machine that he can have at home and those types of things are cool. I don't really care what he wore to work.
Okay. Give me your thoughts about Jaquan Brisker. They brought him and Gordon in as, they're both second round picks. And I guess it seems as if they want to kind of have them two grow together. And then you got Jalen Johnson as well. So you got another young cat at the corner. So you got 3 really, really young guys in that secondary, which your hope is going to be a strength of this team moving forward. How did Jaquan Brisker look? Because he, in watching his highlights, he's you might be able to call him the separator because he likes to separate Muggs from that ball. Obviously, none of that was going on this weekend. But how did he look? How did he move? How did he, his instincts? Talk to me a little bit about him because, even though I'm still upset about them not drafting a bigger receiver, especially with that Jaquan Brisker pick, it doesn't mean that I'm going to talk shit about it because at this point it's over. There's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah,
They got
yeah.
the hay's in the barn. So these are my guys. These are the guys that the Bears drafted. So I'm gonna rock with them. So I just want to know what your thoughts were when you in your first viewing of Jaquan Brisker.
Now, he seems like a kid that's prepared. He seems like he's prepared for the moment. He understands what's going to be asked of him, and he's ready to come in and compete for it. I think that, he embraces the physical nature of the game. He loves to tackle. So he talks about his ability to kind of get back and play deep middle and track the ball. He said, I do have that ability, but I love to tackle. And so, you let Bojack go back there and do his thing back there, and then you get this kid down around the ball, that 12 to 15-yard range, or even down around the line of scrimmage. And I think he's going to be a guy who is going to have a nose for the football. So I was impressed with him. I kind of like the way he moves. I was curious to see, the fluidity in his movement. Did that translate onto the field? Could you see that at this level? Or was he kind of more of a robotic kind of box moving, hard hitting safety, which is fine. But that added ability to turn and run was what I was curious to see. And he has that. You can see the way he flips his hips. You can see the way, he changes directions. He has those types of things as well. And so I think that he's a guy I'm also excited about. He seems to be a football junkie. He seems to really love the game. And he's eager to come in and prove himself. I think that, as much as you talk about Jaquan Brisker, and certainly he's going to get the, first crack at it. And I think that, he'll come in and I think it would behoove him to pick DHC's brain, and find out what DeAndre Houston Carson knows, because he knows everything. DHC isn't the athlete that, Jaquan is. And so I think that that's always kept DHC from being a full-time starter. But in terms of a guy who just knows what he's supposed to do, he's where he's supposed to be, he understands how he fits into the defense, I think that could be a critical tool for Jaquan to kind of use. And I'm pretty sure DHC will be more than willing to help him along in that way. But I would also keep an eye on Elijah Hicks, the safety that the Bears drafted later in the draft. Out of Cal. Yeah, I think that he's also a guy who has shown an ability to get his hands on the football in the multitude of ways. He's intercepted the ball, he's forced fumbles, he's recovered fumbles, he's got sacks, he's got TFLs, he's got interceptions, he's got PBUs. He's a guy that I see coming in and competing. I don't think he's like, well, they took Jaquan in round 2 and they didn't take me till 6, and it's like, I don't think he cares. I think he's going to come in and try to compete for that spot. And so I think that as the spring and summer goes along, I'm going to be very interested to see just how that competition develops. I don't think that, Alan Williams or Matt Eberflus are eager to say, okay, Jaquan, you're the guy day one. I think they're just going to kind of roll the ball out there and see. Maybe neither of those guys can catch up mentally to DHC, and maybe he's the guy who gets the first crack at it. Maybe those guys, their athleticism kind of takes over early, but again, I wouldn't cancel out Elijah Hicks in that competition. I think he's a very, very intriguing player, but I did like what I saw from Jaquan Brisker.
Does that mean, is there some writing on the wall for Ajax then? Because now, because I know Jaquan Brisker can play single high as well, and he's the kind of guy who likes to hit, and that's kind of, we haven't had that in a while, especially a safety who's declared a no fly zone, and with him and Elijah Hicks, if those two guys, obviously they're on a rookie deal, they're not on the Bojack's deal, which is unbelievably crazy. How does it looking for him? Because if these guys can pick it up, that's going to make him pretty expendable, and maybe either a trade piece or someone that they can just release.
Yeah, I think that'll be interesting to see as the time draws near and as they kind of get settled in. Can those guys get comfortable quickly, right? And maybe even just one of them get comfortable quickly, and then you kind of bide your time with DAC until the other one's ready. I think that's a possibility. I wouldn't view it as likely at this point. I think the Bears will kind of keep a couple of those veteran pieces around, and we heard all the talk about them shopping Robert Quinn, but I think you keep him around as guys like Travis Gibson and even Charles Snowden continue to develop. But I think that they'll probably keep Bojack around, and I'm hoping that he can return to some of the play that we saw from him early in his career. And I think that the ability for him to kind of just sit back and have that in the box strong safety that's going to kind of help out in the running game, that's really not what Bojack wants to do. We understand that. We criticize him for it, and that's fine. But at some point, you just got to kind of accept who a guy is and then put him in position to be the best player that he can be. And for him, that's deep middle, that's ball hawking safety. And so you let him do that. You let Jaquan come down and bang on tight ends or fill in the run game. I think that's going to help the team overall.
Talking about this offense, okay, obviously Justin Fields didn't need to be there, nor was he there. He's not a rookie. What did you see? One of the guys that I was interested in was Cyrus Holder, kid out of Duquesne. and watch this highlight tape. He's one of those guys that, you know, you like a very stereotypical Luke Getty type of receiver, 6'3", 6'3", 200 pounds. I watched his tape, and yeah, he dominated. So that's obviously a prerequisite for someone coming from a smaller school. Did he do anything? Were you able to say, hey, oh, damn, okay, watch this guy, or was he just another guy there?
Yeah, no, it's hard to see. I did watch them, but it's really hard to tell. I mean, you talk about world-class athletes, and they got on shorts and T-shirts. Everybody looks good. Like, honestly, you know what I mean? It's kind of like everything you hear the coaches say when they come to the podium after a rookie meeting. Like, yeah, the guy looked good. Physically, they all look good. They are in peak shape. They're world-class athletes running around shorts and T-shirts on the grass. They look good. It's hard to really pinpoint, you know, this particular thing unless you're specifically looking for one thing. Like we talked about. You know, Valus, is that burst real? Can you see it on the field? Yeah, you can see that. His burst is absolutely real. Can Shaquan flips his hips? Yeah, you can see him flip his hips, those type of things. But in terms of just kind of watching to see if that receiver has anything that you think can translate into, you know, regular season games on Sunday, I couldn't really get that from him. I will say he looked good, but I expected him to. You know what I mean? I expected him to, unless you're trying to see, you know, is the guy making a lot of mental mistakes? Is the ball in the grass too much? Those types of things. You didn't really see a lot of that from anybody. And so, yeah, he looked good. I think that every year there's always going to be, you know, these guys, right, that are, you know, in the spring or in the summer or in the preseason, like, oh, he may be the guy this year. And it's like every year that never is the case. And so, you know, I think it'll be intriguing to watch him. Certainly the Bears could use somebody, a dark horse, to come out of that receiving group to be able to contribute. Maybe it'll be him, but we'll just have to see as time goes along. They get on the pass, they go against the defense, those types of things.
They signed Christian Albright from Ball State. How did he look? Quick, fast? Did he look like he could be someone or just a special teams player? Him and Jack Sanborn are a guy that I had some interest in because there's been a lot of articles that I've been reading saying this guy is most likely going to make the team. Probably as a special teamer, of course, but this guy is a legit hitter. Any thoughts on Christian Albright or Jack Sanborn, the inside linebacker from Wisconsin?
Yeah, I think you can see the movement skills. The instincts were there. The way you kind of the feet, right? They can move their feet. Will they get caught up in traffic? I think that when you talk about, you know, fitting into this particular scheme in the 4-3 and the cover 2, your linebackers kind of got to stay clean, right? And that their ability to be able to stay clean, you can see some of that just in their movement skills, in their instincts. So I think that those two guys will have an opportunity to come in and stick and you know, find a role on the team. What's that role going to be? Who knows, right? The Bears are pretty comfortable with their linebacker situation, but contributing on special teams, they're steady trying to find guys who can come in and contribute up and down the roster. And so I think that a lot of guys have an opportunity more so in this year than they would have previous years in terms of being undrafted free agents. But just by the sheer number of them and the lack of proven players already on the roster kind of creates an opportunity for guys that maybe in years past wouldn't have been there.
What was guys? We're joined by Herb Howard, who covers the Bears for the Bigs Media, talking Bears football right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago. What was the atmosphere like? You know, what was the coaching staff? Because this is their first draft class. You know what I mean? These are their babies. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I know you worked with the team before in the voluntary stuff, and that's great. But these are your babies. These are the ones that that you drafted or signed and want to develop. What was the atmosphere like with Coach Eberflus, with the staff? Were they flying around? Were they fired up? How excited were they to have this is their first class?
Yeah, I think that's always an exciting time for coaches, and you can tell they were excited. They were fired up. They were running around. You know, they were imploring guys to, you know, on the hop, move, that kind of stuff, and just being intentional about the teaching every little detail. We heard coaches talking about, you know, I want to make sure he knows where the bathroom is. I want to make sure he knows how to get here, how to get there. So they were intentional about teaching every single little detail. How do we get in the huddle? How do we come out of the huddle? Where do you line up at? Like those types of things. They were very, very intentional about it. And I think that, and sometimes you can kind of see, you know, the wheel spinning from guys as a position group goes from, you know, they're working at the 30 on this side of the field and they run down here, now we're in the end zone. They're trying to get the new drill set up and the coach is like, quick. And you're trying to just kind of see guys just trying to get set up. And, you know, you can tell that everything is for the first time. And so I think the coaches kind of enjoy just kind of loading up the players with as much information as possible and keeping them on their toes all the time. Just see what kind of overflows, who can maintain that information, who can retain it, who can, go without repeating mistakes, those types of things. But I think that you can definitely tell they were all excited to, like you said, get their hands on their babies for the first time and just kind of mold them. This is the way we do things here. This is the expectation. This is what we're looking for. And there was certainly a lot of that. The coaches were excited. For the most part, it seems like the players were picking it up. But, some of them were saying like, yeah, on day one, I had some mental mistakes. Day two, I want to eliminate some of those types of things.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It is. When you step to that next level, like from grammar school to high school to college to pro.
Yeah, it's different.
It is that speed, it is well documented, but I can speak from my personal experience going from here to Holy Cross, and that speed, man. And they had, so for us, and like most colleges, they had the freshmen just by themselves. So you report early. You're with your guys. You go through drills, and they put you through the stuff just so at a slower pace, so you can get used to it. Because when the veterans come back, they already know. They're 2, 3, 4, sometimes 4 years into this stuff. They're ready to roll, so they know. And yeah, it's a little intimidating. It's a little mind blowing, and that's really really cool to hear.
It's always interesting because at every level, you're talking about the best players from the previous level, right?
Yeah.
So you get to college and you're talking about all guys that were the best players on their team, right? But now you get there and now you're at the bottom. It's like, well, I thought I was good. These dudes are real good. You know what I mean? Can I even? And then you kind of get settled in and realize you can compete. But initially, there is that shock, and it does take kind of that orientation period where it's like, yeah, let's not put the rookies around the vets because they'll really feel like they don't know anything, and then we don't even have time to kind of walk them through the baby steps when the big kids get here. And so you do kind of need that time to kind of just settle in and just understand, where things are, how things go, what are guys' names, that type of stuff.
What are their names? That's hilarious. So
yeah.
Offensively, they drafted 16 linemen? Is that what they had? Jesus Christ. I was like,
seemed like it.
They drafted 4, then they signed some more. Talk to me about what you saw them. Did you see how many did you see that you say, this guy might be something?
Well, I think that just the sheer number of them is what I find to be most interesting, right? You draft 4 of them, you sign some more, and it's like, okay, you understand that there is an opportunity there, if not an absolute need, right? And I think that a lot of these guys will have those opportunities to come in and compete. Their versatility will help them. Can they play tackle, but also be able to kick in and guard or kick out or whatever it's going to be? I think those types of things will give them an upper hand. I think that you look at right guard, and I don't see a way that you go into the season with Sam Mustipher at right guard. He was undersized at center. I don't know how you send him out there at right guard. And so there's an opportunity there for some of these kids to come in and compete for those spots. And I think that's what's most, just how many of them, right? You take 4 of them. If 2 of them are able to contribute for you at some point, then you've hit. If one of them is able to come in and take a starting spot, you've really hit on those types of things. And so just the sheer numbers of them, can one of them or 2 of them ascend to the level to where they can truly contribute in this season, either as a swing guy, as a backup, or certainly as a starter. Just the amount of them. It's interesting. You look at them individually. You look at Jatiri, or you look at Braxton. It's like you can see the size, right? You try to want to see how does this thing translate. And if you can't really tell much about a receiver, in shorts and t-shirt, you can tell even less about a lineman, right? But just kind of watching them go about their business, were they confused? How do they move on combo blocks? Those types of things. You can see some of that stuff.
Footwork. You can see footwork.
Yeah. You can see that. But you kind of wait to see the pads come on. I was interested when we talked to Braxton Jones, and he's just such a nice guy, man. Such a nice guy, smart kid who speaks well and all those types of things. And something just came over me in the middle of the press conference, and I was like, Braxton, have you ever had a fight, man? Like he was like, huh? And I was like, a fist fight. You ever had one? Because he was so nice and so soft spoken.
Look at your ass. You're Southside. Like you ever stole on nobody?
You know what I mean? Like, do you get
talk about your mama?
About anything? Is there a switch that you can hit where like I will beat your ass in here? Do you have that or no? And because I need that from an offensive lineman. You don't need 5 of those guys, but you need at least one of those guys. Like where every time there's a skirmish, you're like, yeah, I know who's in the middle of that one, right? Yeah.
If he's not in it, he's in the middle. He's coming.
He's coming. Yeah, and that kind of calms some things down. I don't know if the Bears had that last year, I remember asking Cody Whitehair who was that guy on the line last year. And, he told me, well, everybody's that guy. And I was like, you don't have that guy. You know what I mean? Like, if you think all 5 of you are that guy, none of you are that guy, right?
Yeah.
There has to be that one guy that Olin Kruse was like, I'll punch you in your mouth. Like, stop playing. You know what I mean? And it keeps everybody safe. It keeps everybody settled down. It keeps that extra hit at the bottom of the pile off your running back. It keeps that extra step and then hit the quarterback from going down. That sideline is a little bit more comfortable for you to step out when guys know, if I take this cheap shot at this dude, legal or illegal, somebody gonna come see me about it. And I think you just need that type of guy. And as I was talking to Braxton, he just came over to me to ask me if he had a fight. He said, yeah. He's like, yeah. I was like, when? The last time I think he said like his sophomore year. And I was like, was it a football fight? He was like, yeah, it was on a football field. I was like, oh.
Okay.
couple slaps in the helmet, and then somebody broke it up. I still don't know that he's ever had like a fight.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I wasn't trying to give him a hard time. It was just he just seemed such a nice guy. I just need to know that my lineman at least has that switch. So hopefully we'll get to see that switch, and he'll just go bury a guy, over the bench off the sideline sometime. We'll see.
By the water cooler.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Dude, that's awesome. That's so Southside. That's awesome.
It is.
What talking about their running backs, man? Because they had a couple. They had Master Teague in there. He's kind of been a backup for the majority of his career at Ohio State. And then they had Treston Ebner, the guy that I really want to see. And watching his tape, this dude's kind of electric. This dude's kind of electric, from a returner, but also he's looks like he can be like that Tariq Cohen type of running back, but put together type Tariq Cohen type of guy.
Yeah, he's
good on the backfield. Good out of the backfield. Good yak guy as well. So and a returner. So I think that could be another way that he might be able to latch on. And we actually hold on to 3 running backs. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, I think that's a possibility. I think that, when you look at Treston Ebner, you look at his tape, you see that explosiveness, you see his ability to create big plays. He's a natural pass catcher, and I don't think the Bears have that. I don't think that David Montgomery or Khalil Mack are natural pass catchers. That's not to say that they can't do it and they can't be serviceable for you in that area. They can be. And David Montgomery's worked hard at it, and he's gotten much better at it. And I think that he's, more than serviceable for you in that area. But I think that we talk about a natural pass catcher. That's what Treston Ebner is. And so I think he brings a different dynamic for you in that component, but also like you talk about in the return game, his ability to be a returner. I think the Bears seem to be intentional about that in their approach in the draft. You get the SEC, special teams player of the year. You get the Pac-12 special teams player of the year. These guys that are used to contributing. And we talked to Treston Ebner, and he was like, "Listen, man, I'm not scared of no competition. So I know they drafted Vegas Jones, and I know he's a 4-3 guy, and I know everybody's excited to see him return kicks, but I'm here too, and I want that job too." And so he's like, I'm not scared of competition. It'll be fun to get out there and see. You also had Coach Hightower, special teams coordinator, bring up guys like Byron Pringle, who's also returned kicks, and other guys on the roster, Khalil Herbert, who's returned kicks pretty well for the Bears last year. So there are some guys who've already done it, at a reasonably high level in the NFL, and then you add these couple of young guys in there. So I think it's going to be an interesting kind of competition to see who's back there returning kicks, who's back there returning punts. But I certainly think that Treston Ebner could find a role for himself, not only on special teams, but also offensively, whether it's as a third down guy or, 3rd and 9, that type of guy that maybe he can come in, he can run that arrow route for you and pick up that first down, or isolate him on a linebacker and kind of use his speed that way. So I think that his natural pass catching ability is probably his fastest route to the field right now. And he talked about, outside zone, having run that a lot. It fits what he's done in the past. Yeah. So I think that he's a guy who certainly has an opportunity to come in and make this roster as a third back.
That's what I was going to ask you about that, but yeah, you hit it on the head. Yeah, because he ran that at Baylor, so possibility of them holding 3 backs because of his special teams ability as a returner. That's really, really good, and to be able to use him, on offense, the more weapons you have, the more potent you can be. So I'm excited. So is there anybody there that stood out for me that just surprised you? Not me. What one guy stood out, and then what one guy. Apparently I can't speak this morning. What one guy surprised you?
One thing that stood out was Dominique Robinson.
Quarterback,
size.
wide receiver, DN.
Yeah, exactly.
Slash,
right? His size kind of stood out when he walked into the press room, and it was like, This guy, like, if he had said he was a wide receiver, I wouldn't have been like, "Oh, you're too big to be a wide receiver." Like, he's still got that kind of body, right? And
He's
it's like,
felt. He's felt.
yeah, it's like, ooh, I don't necessarily see DN when I see him, right? But I think that, he has the traits and he has the speed and he has the bend to be able to bend the corner. And I asked Coach Williams if they were just kind of, focused on the things that he does well now, as opposed to trying to hurry up and get him ready to set the edge and contain the run game. Like, are you just going to say, hey, if we give you an opportunity on third down, pin your ears back, bend the corner, get there as fast as you can? I think that you kind of got to use what he does well early as he kind of develops the other things, including his body, because looking at him, you can kind of tell that he was a receiver a couple of years ago. But you could see the bend. You could see those types of things from him. Also want to mention Charles Snowden.
Loved
He was a
him
guy
from last year.
Yeah, he was the guy that was interested in last year, and you see him this year, and you can see that body starting to change. You can see him
Fill out.
starting to add the weight to him. You can see him starting to fill out a little bit. And so it's good to see him out there. I think that he's a guy that is going to, or at least look to, kind of crack the rotation and become maybe what Travis was last year. As Travis kind of moves up a spot, hopefully Charles moves up a spot, and then, it kind of goes that way. And then you get Dominique into Charles' spot last year. And then maybe next year we're talking about, how Dominique has filled out. And so I think you kind of keep that train rolling at that third DN spot. But those are a couple of guys that kind of stood out to me as being interesting and just, looking at their body specifically this weekend.
Did you said the fact that you said Charles Snowden excites me because I was really big on him last year. Being a one-trick pony, man, that's cool, and that's fine. If that's what your gig is, that's what your gig is.
Yeah.
Mark Anderson did that back in 2006. He led the
Exactly.
Bears
Did
in
it
sacks,
well.
10, 12
Yeah.
sacks. He had double-digit sacks, and he went on to get a
did.
nice little contract with the Pats, I believe. So, and also, I'm still a big fan of that. What do they call them? The Giants. They had when they had
the wide
four
nine, the NASCAR package.
the NASCAR package. That's right.
Yeah,
When he had all four defensive ends, no D tackles, all four defensive ends, and man, that put when you get a guard, you do that on a guard. Guards are used to guys who are bigger and stronger, and they're right in front of you. But when you get a guy who's quick, a little quicker than the dude, and now you're kind of playing on the side of them and not head up, that's a whole nother story. So if maybe they'll incorporate that, and they're looking for those dudes, because that in itself is a big pain in the ass when you're used to dealing, button heads with a dude on pass rush and strength, and now you're dealing with just literally pure speed. That'll ruin your day in a heartbeat, man. So
yeah, that would be interesting to see if those guys can develop. You can get to a point where you're comfortable with Charles Snowden being on the field on the big third down. Now you get him in there. Maybe you kick Trevor down inside a little bit. You got Robert on the other side. Now you got these three guys who can really, really get after it. And you can find that for the guy that been in a NASCAR package. That thing the Giants used to do, that almost wasn't fair, man. It was JPP, it was OC Umenyiora, it was
Michael Strahan,
Keyword
Justin
Luka, Strahan, and Justin Tucker. It was just too much. It was like, that's not
because
fair.
they weren't necessarily really big guys.
Nah,
they were more svelte, so they were strong, a little more svelte. But freak, God bless it, were they fast?
Man,
they were fast as all get out. Yeah,
you couldn't do nothing with them when they decided to go to that package. So yeah, that's an interesting comp. And if the Bears could get something similar to that out of 3 or 4 of their guys, that would be dope.
Dude, man, that's awesome. That is awesome. So when is the whole team back together again? For the first time, I guess. For the first time, not again. For the first time.
Yeah, I think they're due to come back here in a couple of weeks. I think they're rookies are going to go back to college or home or whatever, and then they'll get back here in a couple of weeks to kind of get with the veterans. I'll be interested to see how Eddie Jackson kind of lends himself to these younger safeties. We talked about Elijah Hicks and Jaquan Brisker earlier, and in speaking to Jaquan, somebody had asked him if Eddie Jackson had reached out to him, and he said no. And it's not his responsibility to, but I think it would have been nice to hear that Eddie Jackson like, hey, yo, kid, welcome. If you need anything, let me know, right?
I think the boy, yeah.
Yeah, and they're both learning a new scheme, right? But you're doing that with a lot of years of experience, or even just the comfortability of knowing what the building looks like, or what's good to eat around town, or whatever it is. Like just to get a kid a call and say, man, welcome. I'm glad you're here. Would have been nice to hear. And so I'm Eddie Jackson's going to be key, man. I think if he can be productive and a player who's making game-changing plays for you, then this defense is going to have an opportunity to keep the offense in the game every single game that they play. And I think that, the Bears are going to be in a lot of close games if they hope to win any of them. So that defense is going to have to be playing at a really, really high level. I think Eddie Jackson is going to be important to that. So I hope that he's, willing to not only be the player that they need him to be for himself, but also the leader that some of these young guys need if they're going to ascend in the secondary, because you got a lot of holes in that secondary. You come in and, they draft Kyle and they draft Jaquan. You need those guys to play because there wasn't a lot left in the cupboard.
Yeah, hopefully he's not. Was it Ryan Tannehill? It's not my job to mentor.
It's not my job to.
That is just a horrible, horrible teammate, dude.
Why be like that?
And why even say it? I can see if you believe it, okay. Why even say it? You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I'll help them out where I can, of course. Just whatever. Just what the press wants to hear, and you come out like, well, not my job to mentor them. It makes you look like a brat. Yeah, you're scared or a little brat. Like, they drafted my position. I'm not gonna help him.
With my toys. Like, no.
Oh, dude. Hey, you know what? Great stuff, Herb. I appreciate your time. Do me a favor though, let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
Most definitely, man. Shawn, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for having me. Again, my name is Herb Howard. I cover the Bears for the Bigs Media. You can follow the Bigs at It's the Bigs. You can follow me at Herb Howard 411 on Twitter. We'll be bringing you the latest from how it's all from now until the Super Bowl, Shawn.
In 2024 or February 25?
Yeah. That's about as early as they could hope to get there for sure.
I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm really looking forward because I was talking to Frank Schwab last week, and I was like, okay, because I'm still pissy. I was pissy. I'm less pissy now about the lack of 6'3", 6'4" stud receiver that they didn't get. And I was asking him, like, where, is it possible, a June 1st cut or post June 1st cut that we can get? And he's like, there is. He goes, there just isn't much out there. He goes, but and I reminded him, like, but then again, I was like, Khalil Mack, we got him a week before the season. He's like, well, you're gonna have to trade something. I'm like, okay. I said, I'll keep hope, because keep hope alive, according to Jesse Jackson. Because man, if we can, I truly like Velus. I think he can be, a great asset. One of those underneath guys like Tyreek Hill when he first got there. You gave it to him. Just God forbid you're in man. Okay, just make him chase you in man. You get it and you run away from people. Okay, but give me that dude, man, because in the red zone, the speed is somewhat negated because you're just the field is short. Now, depending on how quick he is, because I don't see him as quick as Tyreek Hill. Maybe close to as fast as Tyreek Hill, but not as quick. Tyreek Hill give you a whoop, and if you look the wrong way, now he's gone, and that's where the opening is. So I'm still like, give me that 6'4", 6'5", 35 or 38, 40-inch vert. Just throw it up, in the red zone. Sometimes the game is literally that easy.
Simple,
right?
Simple.
My guy's bigger than your
guy.
That's it. And we didn't use that last year. And I hope they get some guys, because Jimmy Graham was gone. Why they didn't do that with Jimmy Graham on a more consistent basis? You saw the Patriots would light up Gronk. It'd be 3 to the right, Gronk to the left, and Tom's going. If he's head up, he's going slant. If he's inside position, it's fade. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And it's
just give him a shot. Give him a shot. The game can be very, very simple that way sometimes. And you got to hope that Cole Kmet can step up and become that guy for you. You got to like what you've seen from Jesper Horsted and the minimal opportunities that he's been given. But I think that he's a guy who, he's a guy that could also be a red zone threat for you in terms of using his height and his size. And so hopefully those guys can step up and be those guys, because I agree with you. I don't think that you have those particular guys in your receiving core right now. And maybe the opportunity will present itself for you to grab one of those guys as the season goes along, where somebody makes some cuts and those types of things. But I'm not too optimistic about it, and I also don't see the Bears making a huge splash to go get a guy. I think everything they've done this year has kind of been indicative of the mentality that, okay, we're just kind of sit pat and, do everything we can to be competitive this year, but we are not going to leverage any future assets for anybody right now, not in terms of big money, not in terms of future draft picks. And so I would be surprised if they did that again. It would have to be, the perfect guy that they just couldn't do without. And I don't know who that guy would be right now. And so, if I don't see like DK becoming available or, Devontae choosing to come back here. Like, so that type of stuff. short of that, I don't really see them making the move. I think the Bears will kind of have to figure out a way to do more with less, and I think the running game will be critical in that, and leaning on those running backs and using the fullback, and playing good defense and good special teams, and trying to win the game at 17-13, and pulling out some games at 14-10, and it's just the Bears fans are going to have to wrap their heads around this is not going to be a very sexy season. It could be a fun season, right? The defense is flying around and taking the ball away, and we're running the ball, and we're in some exciting games in the fourth quarter, and Justin is making just enough plays with his feet and his arm to kind of steal some games. It could be an exciting season, but any hopes that we are going to go out here and light the scoreboard on fire and it's going to be 35 points and 42 points, they don't have the horses for that right now. They just don't have the horses for that, and it's fine. There's more than one way to skin a cat. You can win games without doing it that way. You just have to be self-aware enough to know who you are and then do what you're good at. And I think that was one of Matt Nagy's biggest struggles. I think he never was self-aware enough to know exactly who they were. He kept wanting them to be the Chiefs. It's like, okay, well, it's fine. Do you see Patrick Mahomes around here? You see Cheetah around here? Like, do you see these guys around here? I don't see them. You know what I mean? And so, do what these guys do well. And I think that, talking to Luke Getsy, you hear him talk about, building the system around the guys that they have today and what those guys do well, and talking to Justin Fields, what he's comfortable with, and those types of things. I think if you're self-aware, know exactly who you are, and then you build a 3-phase game plan around that, right? Because what you do defensively has to be tied to what you're doing offensively, and so on and so forth. If your defense is your strongest unit, then maybe we don't need to go for it on fourth down as many times, because we need to do everything to help our defense. So punt the ball, make them go the long way every single time.
The field position game, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what it's going to have to be. And you're going to have to play field position and time possession. And that's fine. You can win games that way as long as you know that that's how you need to win games. And so far, this staff seems at least a little bit more willing to self-assess honestly in that way. And I think that if they can buy into it and get the players to buy into it, they can still be competitive this season.
All right, last question. I know we're keeping you long, but I know me and I, we get to
talk
football.
Man.
Yeah. We get to talk football. We could talk for another 2 hours. The wide receivers, we've been watching Pringle, his highlight tape at K-State. I was because I wasn't aware of him. We weren't looking at him. He was drafted by someone else. Watching his tape, this kid was nice at K-State. Talk to me real quick about what do you think he could be, along with Equinemius EQ St. Brown.
Yeah.
St. Brown was he comes from a family of freaking studs.
Yeah,
and
sure.
his brother Amron is another stud as well. Raider, is he with the who's he with?
Is he Chargers? I don't know who he's with.
I don't remember who he's with.
Yeah.
But give me your thoughts if these two guys could literally, could the change of scenery for these two guys really allow them to be, because Equinemius is like 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah,
he's a dude. Yeah. He's a stud. He's an athlete. He's a 35, 30. Right? Yeah, he could be that guy along with Pringle. Any chance in your thought that these guys might be that dude? Because now you're a new start. Equinemius was with Chris Getsy last year in Green Bay, so he's already familiar with the scheme. Any thoughts?
I'm very intrigued by Pringle, right? I think you take a guy who, was 4th, 5th, on the depth chart out in Kansas City. And I think that that's ultimately the blueprint that you're looking for, right? So you look at the Rams and how many guys that they had, whether it was, Robert Woods, I know he went down right after Odell got there, but just to stack those types of guys, and Van Jefferson and Cooper Kupp and those types of guys, Van Jefferson will come over here and be the number 1 receiver on this team day one. You know what I mean? That type of, you need that many guys. And so to look at the Chiefs roster and say they had that many guys, and perhaps, again, you get a situation where the number 4 guy could come here and be the number 1 guy. And so, he didn't have a whole lot of opportunities there in Kansas City, but you saw the ability. And like you said, you go back to his tape at Kansas State, you can see how much of a playmaker he was and how dangerous he can be out in space and with the ball in his hands. And so I think that he's a guy that I find very, very intriguing. I think that if he's given the opportunities, and certainly he should be given those opportunities here, he's a guy that could come in and really surprise some people in terms of, having a truly breakout season. I think that term breakout is used far too often, but I think you get a guy here who's been in the league, and now he gets to have an expanded role. And can he become a guy who's an 800, 900, maybe 1,000-yard guy for you? I don't know. Can Can he get to the end zone 6, 7, 8 times for you? That type of guy. I think he has that kind of ability. And so I just think how quickly can he get on the same page with Justin? How quickly can he gain the trust of Luke Getsy? And if he can do those things, his skill set provides a lot of reason for optimism for him. I'm really, really excited just to see what he has. I'm not going on the limb to say he's going to be that guy, but I think that he does have some of those traits. And I think that given the opportunity, we could see that he could be a more productive player than he had the opportunity to be in Kansas City. As for AQ, I think that, you know, he's a guy that you kind of needed to kind of bring over, right? You always see when coaches kind of move, they kind of bring some of their guys with them, if nothing else, to help implement the system, to help guys understand better what we're doing here. But I think it's also a good sign that Luke Getsy wanted them here because, you know, he talked about, you know, having seen signs from him and just his ability to stay healthy and continue to ascend. And so he, like you said, he does have the physical frame to maybe be that guy. And so I think that it's cool that he's here. I think he will certainly help on special teams. And I think he'll help in terms of getting the guys assimilated into this system offensively. Anything that he can do in terms of, you know, ascending himself into a legitimate number 2 or whatever type of receiver, that would be really, really good if he can bring those things. But I'm to be honest, I'm more excited about Pringle than I am about St. Brown.
Okay. Dude, great stuff, man. We'll be in touch soon, bro. Thanks again. I appreciate it, as always.
Always a pleasure, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. Later. Guys, that's Herb Howard from the Bigs. He covers the Bears for the Bigs Media. Great stuff, man. He and I could just keep talking Bears for hours and hours and hours. Listen, we're gonna take a quick break, real quick break. And on the other side of the break, Jason's gonna join us. He's got some breaking news that he wants to talk about. That I think you guys should hear on the Blackhawks. And talk to us a little bit about his show tonight. What's coming on tonight? What's up, cuz, that he hosts with his cousin Lance Irvin. So you're definitely going to want to stay tuned. Keep it locked right here. Jason Palmer up next to finish out the show with your boy, the Superback, right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago.
Yeah, he's all business, man. He came in a suit. He was ready to go. He takes great notes, bought his own whiteboard, you know, and he came in ready. He was focused, and he's a business approach. So I'm excited. I think he's somebody that's going to be all in, focused in, trying to figure everything out. And it's a lot for all those guys right now. But I love the way he came in, his approach.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the Sports Zone Chicago.
There's a liner into the left field corner. A fair ball. Harrison scores. Robert will be sent by Super Joe. Relay throw, not in time.
White Sox radio with the call. 3-2 the win Sunday over the Boston Red Sox. Jose Abreu with a 2-run double. Lurie Garcia with an RBI single for the White Sox. Dallas Keuchel gave up 2 runs on 8 hits. He struck out 5 and walked 1. The Dodgers beat the Cubs 7-1 on Sunday. Right-hander Marcus Stroman was scheduled to start, but he was placed on the injured list without a designation, likely meaning the righty was shelved by a COVID-19 related issue. Justin Steele made the start instead, but he left the game before the 5th with a left hand injury. The Bears held rookie minicamp over the weekend. The NFL schedule due to be released this Thursday. For lightning fast sports updates, download the Score app. It's free and one of the most popular sports apps in North America. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the Sports Zone Chicago.
Research shows listeners don't like it when ads interrupt their music. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual customizes home insurance, we made this ad optional. If you want to skip this ad, remove your left earphone. Liberty Mutual customizes home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
If you're missing this informative ad, you must love wasting your cash.
It's the easy and smart way to save.
Now it's all been said, so if that earphone was out, put it back in your head.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Progressive presents today's to-do list for your dog.
Check front door. Check window. Check other window. Rest chin on ground. Look into distance. Bark for no reason. Check front door. Check window. Check other window.
Your pet has a very busy schedule, so it's up to you to make sure they're protected. That's why Progressive Car Insurance covers your pets for up to $1,000 if they're ever in a car accident with you.
Chase shiny ball. Lose shiny ball. Find shiny ball. Eat shiny ball.
Get coverage for your pets with any auto policy from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Coverage for cats and dogs included with the purchase of collision coverage and subject to policy terms.
Yeah, it's just a little like, the beginning, starting point. Just a lot of more days of work ahead, and I'm just excited to be on this path and go up.
What do you think about coming in with Brisker? Same draft class, both in the secondary. You guys have a chance to kind of be partners here for a while.
Yeah. yeah, we started talking, and I think as we build our relationship, I think it'll definitely benefit us. We definitely talk about getting together and getting the playbook and pushing each other along and stuff. So I think it'll be good for us to go back and forth with each other. So I'm happy I got him on my side.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on Sports Zone Chicago, and it's TGI Mickey Ficky Monday. Whoo-hoo, it's Monday, baby. And you're like, why TGI? Because it's 80 degrees. 80 degrees. When I'll tell it, please. I'm just messing with you, little Snoop Dizzle. 80 degrees, man. It's going to be our warmest day of the year. Going to be our warmest day of the year tomorrow after today. This is summertime shot. Watch out now. Watch out now. Hey, I'm excited. Listen, we're going to bring in my guy. He's the host, the co-host of one of the hottest shows here on Sports Zone Chicago. It's What's Up, Cuz, that he hosts with his cousin Lance Irvin. It's our guy, Jason Palmer. Jason, what's up, Papa? How are you?
What's up, buddy? Woo! Wanted to check in real quick. I know I wasn't scheduled to be on the show tonight, but
I know when you pop up, something's new, something's happening.
We got some breaking news. So for people who did not hear earlier this morning, the New York Islanders announced that they have released future Hall of Fame head coach Barry Trotz. Trotz is no longer with the Islanders. And I reached out to a couple of my hockey sources and a person within the Blackhawks organization, and hold on to your seats. But the Blackhawks are interested in bringing in perhaps Barry Trotz. And he is now going to be one of the candidates for the job, according to a couple of my hockey sources. And this would be big for the Blackhawks for a couple of things. One, the one thing we've seen about the Blackhawks in these recent down years is their defense has just been absolutely atrocious. Mm-hmm. And one thing about Barry Trotz, his teams play defense. Now, they're not going to score a lot, but they are going to play defense. The second thing would be, would Trotz be interested in coming to Chicago when they are technically under a rebuild? Here's the thing about that. We've heard in the recent weeks from Jonathan Taves saying he thinks that this rebuild could be accelerated. We've heard the same thing from Patrick Kane and some of the other veterans on this team, that they don't believe they're that far away. So here's the thing, Shawn. Let's say they bring in Trotz. He changes their style of play. They become a better defensive unit, but they still keep a lot of those same pieces that they have on offense.
That's a lot of power, offensive firepower right there.
Yeah, it is. And if they learn how to play a different style, Trotz plays what they call kind of like a trapping kind of style, zone traps. The Blackhawks could be very interesting if they bring this guy in, because if you look at Trotz's track record, remember, he was down with the Nashville Predators for a number of years. That was when the Predators all of a sudden got good. Mm-hmm. That was when the Predators started causing. That's right, with Pecorine and those guys. They started causing fits for people. They made it all the way to the Stanley Cup. Yeah, this is true. This is true. They made it all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals with Trotz as the head coach. Okay, he then left Nashville. Where'd he go? He went to the Washington Capitals. He was there with the Washington Capitals about 2 or 3 years. They did win a Stanley Cup with Trotz. But then remember, Trotz left right after they won the cup, which everybody thought was kind of interesting. All right, that's kind of strange. He then goes to the New York Islanders, where he's been for the past couple of seasons. What did the Islanders do? All of a sudden, they improved. All of a sudden, they made it all the way to a Stanley Cup final. Didn't win it, but they got there. So Trotz is now gone, but his track record on just hockey alone shows he gets teams pretty much to the finals. He can take a team and get them there with the talent just because of the style and his teaching techniques. Now, the question that we have to answer, though, is the unknown. Why is it that this guy keeps leaving these places, especially after he won that Stanley Cup in Washington? Why was he all of a sudden ghost? Why is he all of a sudden ghost with the New York Islanders? This was shocking news that came down this morning, that he was no longer going to be the coach of the Islanders. And I think you have to look at that when you consider what the Blackhawks just went through this past season with the whole Kyle Beach situation, with the allegations that were against Quenneville. A lot of stuff came out about that. So do you really want to bring a guy like this in if there is something behind it? If there is something behind it. I don't know what it is. I don't know why Trotz keeps leaving these organizations. He's a very successful coach, but from what I understand, the Blackhawks are definitely interested in interviewing him because they have not made a formal offer to Derek King as of yet to become the head coach. He was still just considered the interim head coach, and they did fire his 2 assistants who were under him. So this could be very interesting news for Blackhawks fans.
Dude, great stuff, Papa. Thank you. What do you got coming out tonight? What's up, cuz?
Tonight on What's Up, Cuz, we got a great show tonight. AJ Guyton, former Indiana Hoosier, former Chicago Bull, he is coming on the show. We're going to talk a lot of basketball with AJ tonight, about an hour's worth of basketball. And you all are not going to want to miss this because he talked about what it was like playing for Bobby Knight. And it's not what you expect, ladies and gentlemen. Lance and I were stunned with some of the stuff AJ Guyton told us about Bobby Knight. So I'm going to use that as my teaser and tell you definitely need to tune in to listen tonight to our interview with AJ Guyton as he talks about Bobby Knight. He talks about playing for the Bulls and what it was like playing for the Bulls in 01 02.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He doesn't hold anything back. So that's going to be very interesting. And then we also have coming on from the University of Iowa, associate softball coach Trina Prater. Coach Prater is going to come on and talk about what it's like being a female coaching in college at a Big Ten school. And she's also a mother. Yesterday was Mother's Day. So she's going to talk about how she's getting that life balance and talk about African-Americans in the sport of college softball. You're starting to see more players from the African-American community get these scholarships to D1 schools for women's softball. So we got a great show tonight. Trust me, you do not want to miss this AJ Guyton interview. This is one of the most surprising interviews Lance and I have ever done. We were sitting there with our mouths open with some of the stuff AJ was saying about Bobby Knight. So make sure everybody tunes in.
Dude, that's awesome. Great stuff. Hey, guys, 3 hours has come and gone. Unreal. Man, these shows keep flying by faster and faster and faster. I want to thank our guys for coming on. Ozzie Guillen Jr. talking White Sox baseball. Herb Howard from the Bigs talking Chicago Bears football. And, of course, my guy right here, Jason Palmer, for bringing us this breaking news. Great stuff about the Blackhawks. Maybe this turnaround can happen a lot quicker than we were anticipating. That would be awesome because then you still be able to have a Kane and a Taze, you got and DeBrincat. You still have some people left, some offensive firepower. So who knows? But great stuff, guys. Also want to thank Elliot Baez, our executive producer, Clarence Council, our social media guy, and my co-host in absentia, Maya Kai. And I'd be remiss if I didn't thank my guy who makes everything run smoothly, Ivan Vargas. Ivan, you there? You're gonna say?
Oh, no, I thought you were just going to lead us out. I was expecting a clean lead out. But anyway, see you later.
Yeah, so make sure you join in. You guys stay tuned tonight for What's Up Cuz with Jason and his cousin Lance C. Irvin. So we're going to take a 45-hour break. I'm saying this show is. And on Wednesday, we will see you at 9 a.m. to noon Central Standard Time. Same bad time, same bad channel. Looking forward to that. So again, for Elliot, for Clarence, for Maya, for Ivan, and my guy Jason Palmer, I'm your boy, the Superback, Shawn Sierra. Do us a favor, follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube. We are at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Chi. Guys, have a great day. Enjoy this wonderful weather. If you're going to lay out, because it's going to be beautiful, make sure you put on enough sunblock. It's going to be, you don't want to get burned in the first 2 days, but enjoy it, guys. We'll see you on Wednesday. Your boy, the Superback. We out.